The tongue, the teeth, and the lips. All right. Well, howdy.
Well,
and welcome
well.
to the most anticipated episode of From the Lot in the history of this podcast, which has been around about a year at this point. So.
Yeah.
Cheers to us. We just saw...
Cheers, sir.
Dune Part 2. You see that? That's the Dune Part 2.
Got that Dune bucket?
Commemorative bucket.
Yep.
Will's got it for his collection.
That's right. Gonna go right up there next to the Baron on my bookshelf.
And it came...
And I'm just gonna keep the popcorn in.
Can I see this?
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it.
It came with this Dune Part 2 drink holder.
It does. It did indeed.
Yeah. It's really hard to make bubbles when it's like that full. It's trying to get like some comedic...
Honestly, I didn't drink that much soda during this movie because I was absolutely terrified that I would have to go piss like 20 minutes into the movie.
Yeah.
Just honestly, not even off of liquid, just pure excitement and adrenaline.
I drink a soda, a sparkling water, and half a big bottle of water.
Did you have to go use the bathroom during the movie?
Nope.
It's kind of impressive, man. Almost 3
I got
hours.
One hell of a prostate, dude.
That's.
I'm telling you, like
I'm
on
to take
car
some
rides,
notes on that, dude.
It's willpower. It's all willpower. I'm very good at not needing to pee. There's like only been a couple times in movies where I was like, "Fuck, I really have to piss," and it was usually like, I think I don't even know like if it was because I was too high or something or whatever, but it was definitely, it's very rare. Like, I think I had to piss during Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
And I think that was just because like we were rushing to get there, and we almost missed it.
Right.
So like
Not
I
just
didn't
like
have time to like
settling
go before.
in to the seat, you know.
Yeah. So I hadn't like pissed all day or some shit. I don't know. Anyway, the functioning of my urinary tract aside, Will here.
I got so many thoughts.
He is a very big fan of Dune. Now we're gonna actually avoid spoilers.
First few minutes,
for the video we're posting on release day, but then we will get into spoilers later. So, warning, spoilers ahead.
If you've read the book, stick
Once
around
you
for
see that come up, then you notice to stop.
Yep.
Just don't even watch anymore. Okay? Figure it out.
I guess for those of you who didn't realize or may not know, we are at the fan first premiere for Dune. So it's Sunday, 5 days before March 1st. So
Dune.
Live it, breathe it, smell it, smoke it. The spice must flow. Spice is life. He
I got some spice right here.
who has power over spice has power over all.
No,
Love
I think
that
it's
fucking
I think
quote.
it said
I fucking love that effect so much.
That shit was dope.
I fucking love that so much. Also, want to say that I called and gave me a nudge. First scene, fucking called how this movie was going to open for the record.
what
And
was
I
that?
loved it. So, if you've read the books, you know that basically that each chapter in the book begins with a quote from Princess Irulan, because she's essentially like, she documents everything, right? Like in her diary, she's well read, and so it's essentially her reading from reading a passage or sort of chapter from a book that she's written on any number of things. So each chapter starts out like that.
And she's writing on a magic machine.
Yes, and because
that I have no idea how that shit works.
it's just like
that's the naked girl from Oppenheimer, right?
Yeah, it's just like a voice. It's like she says it, and the thing prints it into the
Florence
scribe.
Pugh.
Yeah, Florence Pugh. Awesome. But the
reason, also, you know who else was in it?
The reason why the
Lea
first movie.
Seydoux.
Yes, she was. She's.
I was like, what?
Margot Finring. So the reason why the first movie doesn't start that way
shit.
is because obviously Princess Irulan's character is not in part one. They saved her for this part in the movie. They saved her and the Emperor, her father, introduce their side of the story and their angling within the political structure, right? So it starts out the movie with her basically giving a rundown of House Carino, That's her and her father's house, the Emperor's house.
House Carino.
House Carino, yeah.
I thought
basically
it'd
they're
be better if they were House Camaro.
it's basically she's presenting.
Arch enemy was House Mustang.
House Ferrari. She's presenting basically their side of the events that took place in Dune Part 1 when the Harkonnens attacked the Atreides. And she's essentially scribing that to her
They just
journal.
throw you right in.
Yeah, it throws you right in.
To
The
the
movie
action.
picks up
Which is
exactly
good, 'cause
where
the first
Part
movie,
1...
The first movie takes we've clocked it 2 hours to get to the action.
What's
It's a long time.
It's a solid hour and a half before the sequence of the Battle of Arrakeen starts in Part 1.
It's 2 hours, bro.
Not because it's the final 2 hours. Or sorry, excuse me.
Final hour.
The final 45 minutes
Is
is
them on the
basically
run.
them on the run. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the whole sequence of that starts about 20 or 25 minutes before that.
Okay, fine. Almost 2 hours.
But it is a solid hour and a half of exposition before that shit gets...
a shit ton of exposition.
A shit ton of
So
exposition.
I appreciated you, like, yeah, I get it. I've seen the first one.
Right.
Even if you haven't, here's like 30 seconds of what happened.
Yeah,
Right.
and it's cool, and it's a smart play because again they are explaining it from a side that they are introducing. So
Yeah, you don't have to have really seen, like, it would help to see the first one, but you don't have to have seen it to see this.
Yep.
You could just get thrown in and be like, okay, I get it. He's a messianic figure.
Dude.
They're apparently Arabs. They're the good guys. The bad guys are the guys with the shaved heads who are super pale. Like, you can just you think you can jump right in.
Yeah, and I loved.
So hopefully that makes it money.
I loved how quick they just got going with shit too. They have that short opening sequence with Princess Irulan and the Emperor, and then you get the title card, and then it's just right in. And I mean, it did. First of all, it didn't feel that long to me. It did not feel like almost a 3-hour movie. I think it's because it goes through so many events and so many things. Like just not rapid fire. Not in that, like, I don't think it's built out or that it's too quick per se. But it really just throws you into the fire, I mean, right off the bat. With the fact, like, oh, now the Fremen are back at war with the Harkonnens. Here it is. One of my main critiques with the first movie is that there should have been more Harkonnen shit. There was so much more Harkonnen shit in this movie, and all of it I thought was fucking dope. There are a lot of scenes and a lot of interactions, specifically with the Harkonnens, that are not in the book per se. But it just helps to flesh out some of those characters a bit more, which I thought, like, you didn't get a lot of in the first one. And there's a lot more attention paid to them, which I felt like it's kind of necessary to really raise the stakes, not only for the movie, but for Paul's journey as well. Fade Ralph Harkonnen, played by Austin Butler, is a big part of that.
Doing a Stellan Skarsgård impression.
Yeah, so I saw these interviews
weird.
where he was trying to figure out how he would sound. And then he realized, like, he's always grown up, he's always been around the Baron, essentially, his whole life. That's sort of like his main role model, at the very least. And so he's just adapted his way of speaking. Which I was like, honestly, I like.
I'm iffy on it.
I like.
You could just use your own voice, right? Like, we get it. Your soul is not in your voice. Like, only gypsies think that. And I don't even know if they think that, right? Like, so, like, you can just act. And people will get like, oh, this guy's been around the Baron his whole life. No one hears you imitating Stellan Skarsgård and thinks,
it's a great imitation.
It was a great imitation.
It really is. It's impressive.
Oh, that must mean he's been around the Baron his whole life. They're not going to think that. They're going to think Austin Butler is imitating Stellan Skarsgård.
No, I mean, they would, because he's being raised by him. I mean, it's just like, people,
or because they're genetically related, and so some people just sound the same. Like, you're not going to think about it; you're just going to notice.
But it's because of the fact that it's his
But no
family.
one else sounds like him.
Beast Raban is
an idiot.
And Beast Raban has not spent as much time around the Baron.
I thought they were
Fade.
brothers.
They aren't. But Fade has always been the Baron's pet, which you can definitely tell in this movie because he's immediately just like, yo, Raban, handle this shit. Raban doesn't really handle it effectively because he is just an idiot. And the Baron knows he's an idiot. All along, the Baron knows like Raban's going to fuck this up once he realizes he has to put Raban in power. That's because Piter dies in the first one. But he knows Raban's going to fuck this up. And Fade's
Piter his mentat?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Fade is the one that he's like...
lingo down.
He's the one that is like, okay, he's going to come in, he's going to be the savior, but he's also competent, right? Which is like evidenced... the first successful Harkonnen attack that is led in the movie is the one that Fade Routha is leading when they blow up Sietch Tabor.
Against the Fremen, yeah, okay.
Against the Fremen, yeah. So
yeah.
the whole movie is
when they cheated.
When who cheated?
They're like they didn't even come down here and fight like men. It's like no, they didn't. That's the whole point of a bomber.
Oh, yeah, because
people in Hiroshima were like, "You pussies, come down here and fight like a man."
They actually.
I bet you they were.
They actually, yeah.
Like you're just gonna nuke a city. You're gonna erase us.
And also Japanese culture is like very much like if you fight was like hand to hand as opposed to like killing someone at a distance, right?
I'm sure someone shook their fist at that plane as it flew by and just shouted like, "You should seppuku yourself, you bum."
We're going off the rails already here.
Okay, before we get back on the rails, I'd like to mention. I forgot to mention that we are sponsored by Coast Smokes. We are sponsored by Coast Smokes. They make CBD and CBG cigarettes. And they also make these really nifty little HHC cigarettes. Oh man, I only got one left. So that's how you know I fucking use them. During the week, I don't really get high.
He gets high on life.
I get high on life during the week, but sometimes after a long day, I'll smoke one of those. It gives it does the same thing a cigarette does, in that it gives you a very manageable and short. Oh yeah, all right. Anyway, and then you move on with your day, but you're not actually fucked up. You know what I mean? I'm actually able to still function. Anyways,
so back to the Harkonnen shit.
Thank you to Close Smokes.
Yes.
Fuck the Harkonnens.
They're terrific
bad
people. They're a solid family. They have solid family values.
They were good people on both
sides.
sides.
They're good people on both sides. And you Raban. Raban just has more of his voice also is low and raspy. But also Raban spends most of his time just yelling.
He's clearly just a big lummox.
Which is why it's such a great casting for Dave Bautista, because in essence, what Raban is he's a coward. That's a huge part of his character's makeup. He's just he's a big ogre, right? So he's very intimidating. He can beat the shit out of a lot of people, but in a way he really
does look like the human personification of Shrek. Now that you mention it, he's got super Shrek vibes. If they make a live action
head,
dude, if they make a live action Shrek, they have to cast Dave Bautista. Imagine him with the Scottish accent.
I'd pay money to see it.
Right, it'd be awesome. So Hollywood, make it happen.
In the book, the Baron kind of just sort of off. Just with a sigh, just God damn it, refers to Raban as a muscle-bound tank brain, multiple times in the book, because he's just good for Hulk smash, right?
Did they say that in the movie? They might have. Or did you say that earlier today?
I may have said that earlier in the day. There's a couple lines from them, man, that because sometimes they talk so low that I couldn't really pick up that I wanted to hear. But, so Raban is he's an idiot, but he's effective at sort of just...
Before we get to spoilers.
Well, no, overall,
though.
No, there's no spoilers yet. I'll say this one thing. he's basically, his character is a coward because of the fact that he's so fucking dumb that he's always self-conscious. Like, he's always afraid that everyone else in a room knows something that he doesn't. You know what I mean? That is kind of like the makeup of his character, which is why he's so angry.
Hey,
and most
fear
of the scenes
is the mind killer.
It is. I swear to God, dude, I'd be tempted to get that shit
that
tattooed. Yeah, dude. Yeah. The litany against fear. I love it.
Why not?
So
do your thing, dude.
Batista crushed that. That was the first thing that really stood out to me about the movie is well, that and the fact that it launches you into the action so much quicker, which is great. And you get to spend more time with more of the characters because of that as well. I think the movie, especially the first half of the movie, I think does a really good job of delving into the Harkonnen world and some of the other worlds a bit more. Even just the Fremen culture, just the deeper dive that it does into that. You finally get all the like water conservation and just like how precious moisture and water is to the Fremen, how crucial it is on Arrakis.
Yeah, they're just high all the time, so the spice doesn't mean anything.
So I'll stop the tangent. Excuse me. Of course, this is a Dune podcast. I love Dune, so I am going to talk.
If you're not here for the tangents,
times.
You're in the wrong podcast
you're
right now.
at the wrong podcast.
But
so before we get to the spoilers, yes. But
overall, though, did it meet your expectations?
I have a few things to say once we get to the spoiler part of this podcast. If you read the book, stick around for that. I really enjoyed the movie. I was surprised at a couple of the changes. Some of the changes that were made. Not even that they were good or bad.
How many significant changes were made? By your estimation.
as a Dune junkie, and I think most people who have read the book and are fans of Dune, they tend to be more junkies. It's more like a Slayer fan, you know what I mean? People typically are just, yeah, man, Slayer's pretty cool. They're usually just like, I fucking love Slayer. You know,
it's like Lord of the Rings fans, dude.
I'm gonna like carve it into my arm. You know what I mean? Like,
I always saw it as like it's the same people who were like are obsessed. This is part of why I always compared them.
Yeah.
With Lord of the Rings, it's like you meet people who are like Ian, our friend who drums for Of Limbo, loves Lord of the Rings so fucking much, dude. You have no idea.
So he's so Lord of the Rings is to him what Dune is probably to me.
He could talk all day.
100%, yeah.
Look, unless I'm making it up.
There will not be a conversation. It will be me talking at someone. And
yeah, I got opinions too.
Undoubtedly, at some nights around bars around town.
No, it's good to balance you're a huge fan. I've never read the book, so it's good to have the opinion of both sides of that.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and obviously the main people. I think I'm probably, other than the girlfriend I was sitting next to, and any other girlfriends who haven't read the book who were dragged here. I think I was probably the least knowledgeable of what was going to happen.
You probably, you were closer to that end of the spectrum.
Like, all these people have read the fucking book, obviously.
The guy next to us shushed this guy behind us. Did you hear the loud shush at one point in the movie?
No, I did not.
It was very loud, dude, because this guy apparently was just like crumbling around in his bag. It was during the big Fade Ralpha sequence when it's like very, very quiet. And, oh man, you could hear the venom in his tone. Honestly, he may have used the voice on the guy in the back row because it sounded like the guy just froze with his hand in the bag. Like, I didn't even hear like a crinkle of him retreating his hand out of the bag. It was just like, I think Ann looked at me, my wife. I think maybe at first she may have thought that I had shushed the guy. Not gonna lie. The thought did go through my head. But I was like, all right, we're having a good time. Everybody's having a good time. Everybody's here trying to enjoy this. It's not getting too spicy in the first act here.
Dude, you guys were in the back. I was dead center in the third row, which was honestly awesome because it fills your entire field of vision.
When I walked in, I was like, man, honestly, the lower row seating in that theater like looked kind of dope.
It was
the space
awesome.
in between the screen,
it would be better to be like in row D or E. That's the prime spot.
Just like one or two back from you.
Yeah. That's because then you can focus your eyes a little better. Like, I'm like, oh, God damn it, I'm getting older as I'm, like, trying to take in this whole thing.
Yeah, that was like...
But it's cool, it's overpowering, it makes it more epic. Like, IMAX was... I think the whole thing was, thank fucking God, in the same aspect ratio.
The whole thing
This
was shot
shit-
in IMAX, yes.
It drove me nuts in the first one.
Yeah.
When it was just switch, and when Nolan movies do this, like, we're gonna switch aspect ratios. It's like, dude, film in one.
Well, dude, I think...
I'm trying to have a dream here. Don't remind me that the dream, like, there's
Is-
ways to do it artistically, obviously, but
Fair enough.
most of the time it's because you just didn't want to pay for 70mm cameras on the whole movie.
That's, I think, the first one. The reason why is because, like, you got to think, like, when they were filming this movie, because the reputation and the history of trying to film this movie and bring the movie, or sorry, trying to film the book, bringing the book to the big screen, it's been tricky. So I think the first one was because of the fact that, like, they just didn't have as much money. Like Warner Brothers specifically wasn't ready to fully commit to a budget for this movie that, well, it seems like there might be a lot of hype, but at the same time, every time it's been brought, this book's been, an adaptation has been made, like, it's fallen flat. So I think after the
specifically
success
been a mess.
Yeah, and it's been a mess for sure.
Yeah.
Overbloated. I mean, reshoots. Going way over budget. Like, famously so. So I think because of the success of the first movie, and the job Denis did just setting it up, which was great, I think Warner Brothers was like, oh, okay, this movie made us money. It was released to home, right? Like, it wasn't just an exclusive theatrical release.
That's right. It was on.
Yeah, it was split.
It was on. So they also know how many people saw it on streaming, so they knew how many people would go see it in theaters if they were hooked for two, which is smart.
It fucking is, dude.
Whoever devised that deserves a promotion.
Yeah, Zaslav may have already given him the axe over at WB. Actually, probably not. I mean, I would imagine that's the type of dude David Zaslav would probably keep around. He's a good buddy of mine. But
that's why you want to listen to us, because we know everybody.
We get that inside knowledge. No, but I think this one they gave him like the full green light, right? No fucking breaks. Like, you can just kind of do what you want. It looked amazing from start to finish. I thought the sound once again was fucking incredible. I mean, it's very immersive. I felt like the entire experience of watching the movie, the cinematography,
it was
the
good.
sound,
Yeah,
like
for
it
sure.
just it sets you up in the world, and I feel like it makes it feel lived in my opinion. So
It was, you know what it was though? It was a little dusty. I gotta say, like,
to shower on this planet, you wash your ass with sand.
It was a little bit like, okay, I get it.
For you Duniacs
Sand.
out there.
Like, I'm like, there, to some degree, there's very little beauty to be found, shockingly. So I mean, the way they filmed it was kind of interesting. There's a lot of
the scale,
like really shallow focus, like they're wide open on the camera, and you just like, so it's like people are like out of focus, and I'm wondering, like, am I getting older, or is this person out of focus? And then they go into focus, and they do a lot of that to kind of compensate for the monotony of the dust.
Well, I think it's a cool way to, I think, visually translate the idea of like
what it's like to be in it.
Trying to like make out the forces that you're fighting on the other side, or who's coming through.
How do these guys get under the ground like that?
Oh man, that's I mean, it's those.
How are they doing there? Are they tunneling? Are they just getting there the night before and hiding?
Well, I think probably what it ultimately is it's they have. I'm assuming that they tunnel, that they like burrow into there, and they probably have some sort of device, much like maybe something akin to the thing that Paul uses in the first movie to blow the sand off of the tent. There's probably something they have to where they can like burrow down relatively quickly. It might not just be like on the spot, you know what I mean? But like, like it's like, oh, they probably have to go there. Like,
use that weird lightsaber.
Yeah. And God, dude. Okay, right off the bat, like when the Harkonnens are hunting the Fremen, like as soon as the movie starts and it's the Harkonnen raid and they're walking around in the desert, dude.
And there were hints of like stormtroopers looking for C-3PO and R2-D2 for sure.
Dude, when they fly up, right? Because you asked that whenever we were watching we watched part 1 before we watched part 2, which is the best day ever for
enormous.
Me. It is huge.
So
dude.
much bigger than the regular big bucket.
But dude, like you had asked when we watched part 1 when the Sardaukar are slowly ascending or descending to the ground, excuse me, they're on the suspensors, which is like what the Baron uses to float around. They're, he has them harnessed into his skin. They have them on their suits. But you had asked, like, wait, so, can they basically fly? Can they go up? And it's like, yeah, but you don't see it in the first movie. And just the first shot of them actually ascending to the top of that mountain, I thought was fucking so sick, dude. I thought that looked. I
remember
like
thinking,
right off the bat, I was like,
"Why did
hell
you
yeah,
even
dude.
run half the way? You could have just flown immediately."
I think because they were checking the bottom of the mountain first.
Oh,
I think that's what it was. I mean,
yeah, the action scenes at the beginning were good.
They were.
The action scene at the end.
Did you like? Whoa,
little underwhelming.
I thought. Are you talking about the fight, or are you talking about like the battle of Arrakeen?
Because all I've heard is like, dude, this battle's gonna be sick. This battle's gonna be. You've said it at least on 5 podcasts, so I'm like, dude, this battle's gonna be sick.
I had read that
and
it
then
was
it's
supposed
over.
Yeah, it was.
And you're like, oh,
so basically,
it's a route.
The way it's filmed, and the way I had read it reported, right, is it basically says like the last the Battle of Arrakeen in this one is essentially like 45 minutes, like an hour long. So I mean, admittedly, I was sort of expecting, the bulk of that battle to occur post sandworms blazing into the city and post atomics being used, right? It seems like that it's more so like proxy battle is probably not the correct term, but essentially it's just a bunch of small raids and small fights and battles that occur leading up to that. And so I was also surprised at that. Whether you want to call it like the pacing of it, or just how it was set up. Right. It was. We should probably we're definitely going to dive into we're going to delve into the third act.
Let me say one thing before we get to spoilers, because we can just get there, I think. But like,
yeah, or anything
is like what you have to compare this movie to. I know I've already said it. Is like Two Towers, right? Like, because I can't really think of another movie with like that sort of scope that's like trying to be like a great trilogy post Star Wars, right? Like, in the Two Towers, dude, the Battle of Helm's Deep, which I guess we're gonna have to do an episode on Two Towers, but like,
yeah, that'll be coming up.
Oh my god, dude, so much. It's like half the movie. Like they get all the boring shit out of the way, like, oh, here's this guy. Here's a tree, etc. And then you just get to like the Battle of Helm's Deep, which is like one of the most awesome fucking
like Game of Thrones on steroids sort of thing. Like,
just like, I haven't seen it in 10 years, but like my memory of it is just like, hell yeah, dude. Like I still remember distinct parts of the sequence, right? Like there's the part, it's in the trailer, so it doesn't count as a spoiler for you, where Legolas like rides a shield like it's a skateboard down some stairs and just like snipes some people. And there's like multiple like it's got to be at least like 30 minutes of screen time minimum, if not like 45. It might be like
just the battle itself.
Yeah, because they cut away from the battle at least 3 or 4 times.
No, they do, and So
I was expecting something a little bit more like, oh shit,
constant.
Well, also they're like, I figured they would just make it like they're the underdogs, but instead apparently the Emperor and the Harkonnens were the underdogs because they fucked them up right quick.
Well, and so here's the thing in the book, okay, admittedly in the book. So I guess Denis does pull this off. It is like the book in this fact, like the final battle is very much a rout. Right, like Raban has an off-screen death in the book where like it's just mentioned in passing that he's killed in a Fremen raid. So he doesn't even get like a proper closing chapter. And then the Battle of Arrakeen, while like, the descriptions of it in the book, they're epic, it's grandiose, and you feel the weight of all the political machinations sort of coming together and the strategy and everything, right? So you feel that. But then the battle occurs, and essentially the end of the book, that whole final sequence is just one massive sequence of Paul and the Fremen, okay, by extension,
Throwing their dick on the table.
putting their dick on the table and just being like, yo,
I saw this and I was like, this is
things change now, right? Like the guild, the way you've operated, no more Benny Jesuit, fuck you, you've created me. I am the thing that you...
We're asking for.
Yep, here I am. And now, at this point in time, history changes, right? And so, the book, the battle is, it's a route. That's what I'll say. It is certainly a route.
What percentage of the book is it?
So it's essentially the final 4 or 5 chapters for sure, maybe 6 or 7, and some of those chapters are like very, very long too. I mean, it's basically like a couple of the longest chapters in the book are a part of this whole sequence, right? And also, we'll get to that later. So, in a way, I guess Denis does pull that off. I'll say a couple other things before we get to the spoilers, though, real quick, and I will keep this brief. Try as I might. Another complaint I had about the first movie was I wanted to see Lady Jessica get more screen time as being like a badass Bene Gesserit, right? And
we got that in this one for sure.
And I thought she was fucking killer in this movie. I loved the focus on her, like when her going south while Paul stays in the north. It's very true to the movie, sort of spreading the word of the Messiah. But she's also, I mean, she definitely comes across as a badass, as someone who is capable of commanding. And you start to ponder this. Like, is this a turn for her? I think in a way it does set up the point that Frank Herbert was trying to make with the book, where like, wait, are the good guys really the good guys? And what happens when the good guys win? It's like a focus on the, okay, now what aspect. And you sort of see Jessica as she starts to take,
right, like
wield her influence into her power, and she takes more command. So that was cool. Also, the sequence with her becoming the Reverend Mother, that changed the sequence of them showing the womb, Paul's sister Aaliyah in her womb. That was so fucking sick. That was a part of the psychedelia that, like, honestly, I really hoped was more prevalent in some other parts of part 1 or part 2, but that was so fucking cool. It was like very 2001 Space Odyssey.
It was an embryo.
I mean, and just in like the way like the water flows into it, and it's sort of like the weird. They're not sunspots.
How many conservatives do you think are going to go on podcasts in the next week and be like, "This is a pro-life movie"?
Oh, I mean, dude.
He's talking to the baby. That's a baby in there. His opinions.
So, and also, dude. So I love
of the state.
I love that too, man. The multiple moments in the movie of Jessica, just like quiet down, talking to Aaliyah,
just like,
and her womb. Because for those of you that don't know, we're gonna do a quick dive. So the Fremen, in order.
Wait, this is a spoiler.
Okay, that's true. That's true. Okay, see, my man's on me.
My
man is on me right now. He's got it.
Just tell people.
Okay.
Out of 5 stars, what would you give it? And then we'll get into spoilers as to why.
Okay, so we're doing the right. Okay, out of 5 stars. God, I really want to give this movie 5 stars. I'll be honest. I think anyone who watches this podcast is probably like, yes, of course we know.
What? Weird.
Honestly, I could go back in there and watch it again, and I could watch it a 3rd time tonight. Legit. There's so much to take in. How
long is it?
So it's like 2 hours and 50 minutes.
So it's under 3 hours.
Yes.
Okay.
Out of 5 stars, I will give it.
Oh, you're not giving it 5.
I'm going to give it 4.5. And I will I'll go into detail in the spoiler section.
Yeah.
I don't, but that's where I'm going to land right now. I think at some point we talked about doing a 4D, like seeing it in the like a 4D, the 4DX theater.
It would be fun.
Do like a bonus segment.
I don't know if I have $25 to blow on that. Really,
honestly, if we did that, the rating could potentially change. I do think it's
that'd be fun.
I do think it's better than 4 stars. I'll go 4.5. Yeah,
Like,
I'll
but
just do
5. Yeah, because 5 stars is this an all-time classic smash of a film?
It's great. I loved it. I mean, I really did.
For something like this to even get that, you almost need hindsight to be like, okay, no, this resonated with enough people commercially. Excuse me. To make $1 billion or whatever. I would probably, if I had to give it a rating. It's interesting, like, have part of your film critic side of your brain wants to be as harsh and realistic as possible, but then there's another part that wants to like boost it up and be like, no, go see it. Like, seriously, go see it. Like, it's worth seeing. And so, like, and that's how you get like some of these like notoriously hard or easy critics sometimes, is I think they just give in to one of those sides too much. I'm wavering between 3.5 and 4. And the real reason for that, like the dilemma going on inside my mind, is that I'm not sure if it delivered on everything I wanted enough, although it did definitely deliver. It wasn't bad.
No, I don't think it was bad at all.
At all. It was good. It was very good. So it's better than 3 stars for sure. Is it like an all-time classic? No. I would say no. We'll see. But now I have to see Dune Messiah. So they've got me hooked. I do want to see how it all ends.
Right, this is not the end of the saga.
Right? And that's when you really know.
Did you like it better than the first one or no?
Yeah, they're kind of like the same.
You think it's just about the same level?
Yeah, the first one holds up on repeated viewing.
Yep.
This one was a lot more fun than the first one.
Yeah, there's a lot more just like actual like in your face. Oh shit.
There were some ways in which it's like, I don't know, man. It's tough. I want people to go see it, and I want it to be a big hit, because I think the message of it is actually a useful message. The mythological elements are relevant.
The critiques on religion, or not even critiques, but like what they're saying about religion, right? I think, and that is
that from the book? Is that what
man.
Chani's, or whatever her name is?
Her
Chani. Opinion? She's like very anti, like.
Well, I'll say this.
Does she call it Bene Gesserit propaganda?
Yes, she understands. But she definitely in the book converts to Muad'Dib's side much sooner.
Yeah. Okay.
She doesn't hold out nearly as long. She doesn't hold her reservations for nearly as long in the book as she does in this movie, and that's all. That's all I'll say.
Here's the thing. So if you're comparing it to, okay, what's a 5-star movie in this circumstance? Those answers are Empire Strikes Back. I guess you could say Godfather Part 2, because that's technically a trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
But, and Two Towers is for sure, like, just 5 stars. Just like, fuck right. Yeah. Right? Like, not to give it away before we do a podcast on it, but, like, it's definitely... I will be shocked if I don't give it 5 stars. But, like... 3 stars in this, or I'm sorry, like even 2 stars probably would be like, I don't know, Dead Man's Chest, Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, that one was.
They tried to turn it into an epic trilogy, and you're just like,
Yeah, no, that's bad. I mean, it's much better. Just
4.5 stars would be like Spider-Man 2.
Just the cinematography, the visuals, and the world building and the sound alone. I mean, to
Dark
me,
Knight.
that's easily that's 3.5 stars right there. I think the performances were great in it.
Yeah, the execution is really good. Okay, I'll give it. You know what? I'll give it 4 stars.
And the execution is very, very good.
I'll give it 4 because the production is so well done, and there's nothing. The only complaints I have with it are like some things that could have been maybe done better. I thought that Zendaya is like not a great actress.
Yeah, you said that coming up, and I actually thought Zendaya did good in this. I'm not a big Zendaya fan.
It was weak.
I thought she was good. I thought she was good in her role as like in holding out, and I like that she represented. I like the way they did that. Is like how more of the holdouts were the youth. You know what I mean? They sort of were turning their back on this prophecy and the religion, which I think is like kind of a poignant thing at this point in time.
Yeah.
So they are much more skeptical of some in what they perceive as entitled child who's claiming to be a duke from a major house. Like you have no.
I get that, but I just I didn't think she was.
I thought she did again.
It's like just like okay, you went for it because you're trying to get a demographic in the door, and I'm fine with that. I was not the best actress.
I do have a major issue with her character,
which we'll get to.
But
I also thought Timothée Chalamet was good. You know, I don't know if he didn't like wow me.
He played the turn very well for Paul. Like when he's
he does well for sure.
After he does the water of life and you see it in his eyes. Once it's cool because it gives him and Chani an intimate moment when she brings him back, which is akin to the book. Right, it's the same thing.
It's a spoiler. All right, he spoiled it.
Well,
he spoiled it for you. All right, well, we're gonna go to the spoiler section, but we got a 4-star and we got a what?
I'll go 4.5.
4.5.
4.5. Yeah, I think it
I'm
could.
Surprised you're not giving it 5.
It could. I mean, look, there's just a few.
Why did you not give it 5?
A few of the choices that were made with the ending of the movie.
So out of spite.
Not even out of spite. I think there's questionable. A big thing is Chani. A big thing is the way her character ends. Oh, can I just say this?
Yeah, okay, we're there. No, but
so,
you do agree that a lot of people who are fans of books will downgrade a movie out of spite.
Oh yeah, and look,
like when people are like, you know, The Shining, the ending was changed. It's like, yeah.
The Shining book is great, though. I will say
the movie's so much better though.
You get so much more backstory on.
It's just not even close.
Have you read The Shining, the book?
I don't need to know really that it's not one of like the 10 best books of all time.
The Shining movie is great, but the book is awesome because it's not even the ending on this one. It is all the backstory that you get with the family before they get to the hotel. That's just like really fucked up. It sets the stage
it's
for
this whole confession.
It's a lot, but
It's
it's
very personal.
So I will say this. Look, I understand that like when you're taking a story that was written, right, and you're translating that to a visual medium, there are going to be certain things in a book that just don't carry the same weight visually, right, or just may not work the same way, right? Maybe it's not as terrifying, it's not as scary, maybe it's not as impactful, whatever it might be. So.
What's kind of your job as the filmmaker?
But you know, maybe it's one of those things where it's like, oh, visually, this actually is a more impactful way, or a better way to sort of do this. Look, I guess point being is I'm okay with certain little changes. For instance, now that we're doing spoilers, getting to the meat of the matter, the first change that I'll say that I thought was awesome.
All right, hold on. That was the 5th time this podcast I've wanted to say it, so I'm going to finally do it. Mm-hmm. Your mom's a spoiler.
Boom.
I was like, we're not trying to go off the rails too soon, but I gotta say it. So I keep making myself laugh Go back and watch this. You'll see me laugh a couple times, at least twice, at like your mom's.
You
bitch.
changed just holding it. He's just carrying it. Got it in the holster.
Yeah, sorry. Anyway, what was the?
So
what are we
I mean, look.
about?
So look, like there's certain changes I think like that are
Now I
that
can
it's
listen.
fine. You don't have to be I'm not a purist, right? Like it's a great change that he did make, I think, was actually like having Gurney Halleck kill Beast Raban. And like I said before, he just sort of, they mention his death in passing, but you don't really.
There's a guy lying in the street right now.
He's vibing hard. He's pulling a Beast Raban out there.
This is the exact opposite of a Snidely Whiplash situation.
Can they see that?
This is
Can they see that actually?
Probably.
Yeah. Nice. Viewer.
I hope so.
So yeah, so you actually it carries more emotion, and I think it's a better payoff because of the fact that like Raban gives Gurney his scar in the slave pits when Gurney was a slave to the Harkonnens back in the day. They killed Gurney's sister. She died in a Harkonnen whorehouse. So in the book, it is very disappointing that Gurney doesn't get some sort of revenge, right? Like he doesn't actually carry out a death. So that was awesome. Now, there are a few things that were changed. Let's go back to Chani, right? Let's wrap this around in Chani. So, in the book,
you didn't think that like her portrayal was a little bit too "you go girl" and not enough like
man, honestly,
you're a real person.
No. I thought like because here's the thing: she is tough as nails. Like all the Fremen are. They're molded by their environment, which is just like an extremely harsh environment. So it says in the book how like men, women, children, all of them are very skilled fighters, and they're highly adaptable. And so I actually thought she played the tough role.
You think she seemed tough?
And pretty well.
No,
yeah,
she
man,
seemed like
absolutely.
a rich girl pretending to be tough.
No, I think she not at all. I think she did a very good job at that.
Also,
I was very skeptical.
there's a one shot,
and in the book she carries a lot of weight too, like amongst her tribe. Same as Stilgar, which Javier Bardem is fucking fantastic in this movie. He really helps sell the like fanatical belief.
I thought he could have been more fanatical, to be honest.
Oh, not at all, man. He was really. He was so good.
There was a couple times where they're like, "We're not playing this for laughs." Like, really, give me a chance for like Christopher Walken to breathe here. There was one point when I got some Walken. It was when he was like, "Baron."
Yeah, well, that's not this. So how does that tie into the Stilgar?
Same deal. Like, just let this guy go nuts.
I mean, I think Javier Bardem out of anyone,
it was a little bit too like yes. Oh, but it was like
yeah, he's fanatical.
It was real.
That's what he's supposed to be.
It wasn't cartoonish.
He's not. I mean, but no, the cartoonish.
That's my point. Like I would have enjoyed a little bit.
That's
of
how you
there.
get the fucking bullshit David Lynch shit, where like everyone's a caricature, just like the Harkonnens. Javier Bardem killed it, and like, I mean, I honestly thought he stole the show for a lot of the movie, and
really
there are absolutely points where like his fanaticism are laughing, like they're laughable. And like the audience laughed at those points too, because it's just like, oh man, I mean this guy, like he's all in. He's all in on Paul as the Messiah. Like right away, he sees like 3 steps. He's just like, oh shit, this is the one.
Also, when they're like, oh, you've seen it before in the past, it's like, really, you met a guy who is the son of the Reverend Mother in the past?
Well, yeah, I think
fit all these qualifications.
No, I think that's kind of like. That was indicative of the youth just being flippant towards the prophecy. And I think what they're alluding to is probably like, I mean, obviously just like con artists, people who probably come to Arrakis from off planet to try and like, to maybe influence them. And they ultimately probably get killed by the Fremen, not accepted, so they're killed. Not per se. I don't think that was meant to be like, no, you're just a carbon copy of something that's happened before.
You got that bow?
Yeah. I'm surprised you didn't like Javier Bardem in this one.
I didn't dislike him. I thought he did. I did. No, honestly, nothing in it, performance-wise, wowed me. But to be fair,
And you didn't like Austin Butler as Fade Route though.
oh, he was probably the best part. Him and Stellan Skarsgård are the two best.
I was like, dude, I
And
was
Rebecca Ferguson.
So I was surprised that we
as
got
Lady, what's her face?
Yeah, Lady Jessica.
Yeah, she's great. She did well.
I was
Very well.
surprised at how much Baron we got in this movie. Because again, man, a lot of the shit that I was reading or hearing about the movie, it very much seemed like they were pushing the Baron towards the back. And like, while Fade Routha is definitely like the main focus for the Harkonnen, the Baron got a lot more fucking screen time in this one than he did in part one.
I think
like,
they understand
deservedly
that
so.
like
he's even more gross
Phaedra
in
Alpha
this
can't.
one.
He can't replace the Baron as the
No, yeah, absolutely.
spearhead
yeah.
of the antagonist
Yeah.
wing.
And I was really worried about that. I was worried that they were just going to play up, oh, the Baron is still just, like, so sickly from the attack that, like, he's really not wielding a lot of influence. It's like, no, he's very much still there, steering the ship, controlling things.
So were those things breathing for him, those weird balls with the hoses?
They must have been. I mean, yeah, it must have. So, it had to have been something to help him with his breathing or for his
because
his
he was
lungs.
poisoned or whatever.
Yeah, because he was poisoned. Which like that's something that they.
Who's the guy who just like beats the shit out of him? That's just like the lead guard for the Emperor?
Yeah, is
that a character in the book?
So in the book,
I was like, really?
So
just
actually,
any guy can just do this?
No. So actually, I mean, yeah, because like you got to think like they had like a whole crew of Sardaukar in.
But there was that lead guy.
Right.
Yeah.
No, for sure. No. What I'm saying is they had the whole Legion of Sardaukar in there, so like the Harkonnens couldn't do anything to them, right? Like so, like of course, like that guy can step up at that point. The Emperor's down there. He sees what's coming. He probably is the commander of that unit. So like, yeah, he gets the drift of what the Emperor's putting down, and so yeah, he can step up and just literally cut the Baron down.
Yeah.
So,
I enjoyed that.
So in the book, there is a Sardaukar commander who is kind of like a thorn in the side of the Baron. He's a little nosy, and the Baron can't exactly tell him to go fuck himself because the Sardaukar are, quote unquote, at least to the Emporium and the major houses.
So are all the Sardaukar dead?
No, not at all.
Didn't they say kill all the Sardaukar? You don't see it.
Oh, yeah. So I mean, so yes, they'll eventually kill all the Sardaukar.
No, they said it in this movie.
Right, yeah. So yes.
Then they're meeting with.
Sorry.
Then it's like days later. So I assume that the Sardaukar are all dead.
I'm stoned.
Is that all of them?
I'm stoned.
Did he bring his? They said he brought his whole army. Does that mean every single Sardaukar is dead?
So I guess that's what they're implying is that they're dead. And in the book, they also kill all of the Sardaukars. They let the Emperor live, but they let him just like to not make a martyr out of him, right? They stripped him of his title. He's basically just living in shame. I think it's on Seleucus Secundus, so to the prison planet that he raises the Sardaukar on. So he's forced to live out his days there, and he doesn't have a standing army. So Paul won't allow him to. And it's a big thing in Dune Messiah in the next book on how Paul won't give in to let him even have I don't think he even lets him have any protection.
With Secret Service protection.
Yeah, it's
Paul's
like
Joe Biden.
Exactly. So
got it.
So I guess I kind of fucked that up. They do kill the Sardaukar. So basically, the only ones that are still alive.
The new Royal Guard is Fremen. They're the Royal Guard, essentially.
Yes, they're the new Royal Guard, and they're about to go kill billions of people across the universe.
Oh, really?
Why? And now what? Because Paul's basically unleashed them on the universe. And
what's the point of all the houses came here?
Yeah, and so they will. So okay, well, all right. One point at a time. Sorry. We'll get to that. We'll bring that up. But yeah, the Fremen are essentially just exactly. She's gonna call right now. She's a huge Dune fan. It's just rabid fanaticism, right? They're gonna go, and you're either going to accept Paul as the Emperor, on all of these different planets, right? And even the major house is like, you're gonna bend the knee or else we will kill you. You're gonna revert to our religion or else we're gonna kill you all.
Is Dune Messiah when Paul becomes kind of a bad guy?
Yes, but you see it in this, and I thought they do a good job of setting that up.
I could have used more of that in this.
It would have been cool to get some more explicit visions.
Like, oh, this guy's like not a good dude.
But they bring it up multiple times.
Was he that reluctant?
Oh, in the book, yeah. He calls it his terrible purpose. He foresees a terrible purpose, and then once he fully gains his sight after he does the Water of Life ritual, he like sees two paths. I was wondering if they would talk about humanity. The golden path. Yeah, he sees two paths. One is basically the golden path, which is what God Emperor focuses on a couple books later. The other path is the path that he chooses, which is where like I have
what's the golden path? Where everything goes right?
No. It's this is like a way advanced spoiler.
Who gives? I don't give a shit.
This is a way advanced spoiler.
Yeah.
That is.
I'm never ever going to read this book.
So that is what Paul's son, who is Leto the second. That's when he basically becomes one with a bunch of sand trout. And sand trout are what make up a sandworm. So basically, Leto becomes part human and sandworm. And so
they seemed to reject that in this, where they just had a baby sandworm.
No. So that's after the sand trout become a sandworm.
They're small, and then they just get bigger and bigger.
So it's like a whole thing. They explain it. They're like a single cell organism.
How do they steer these things?
So basically, when they throw those hooks in them, they can rotate them by like where they have the hook and sort of like which flap that they pull up on. So like if it's on the right side and they really
why wouldn't the sandworm just throw them off?
It's a whole thing. They forgive me, I am a slightly rusty on some of this, but they explain this in the books. It's basically like because the worm doesn't want to burrow underneath the sand with like the gills or like the flaps, whatever you call it, with them open. And so the Fremen are just able, that's part of like the magic of the quotes. They're able to just like balance themselves, especially because the worms are so massive. But it's like they are able to sort of, like they've basically domesticated the sandworms.
How did you think the riding of the sandworm scene was?
Oh, I thought it was sick, man. I mean, I thought like when he slides, the way they captured
wasn't
the
as good
scale,
as the David Lynch one though.
No, you can't.
When he's just
this is fake news, folks. Folks, this is fake news. This is not true. This is not. It is not. It's, like, dude, him sliding
more triumphant.
Him sliding down the sand, like, because in the book it's like he starts off too far, So it's like they, I think they do that scene justice to the book, and him sliding down the sand and like. You are sitting there like, man, is he going to be able to grab onto the fucking side of this thing or the top of this thing, or is he just going to fucking fall right underneath it? And of course, it's super dusty. Thank God he had goggles on. I was like, dude, this guy, he better finally have fucking goggles on in the desert if he's in the middle of this, and it's just like
Does he normally...
Well, for a lot of the time in the desert, there's a lot of shots where they don't have goggles on. Now, granted, it's not whenever like the sand is blowing pretty hard, but still. Like in the first movie, when he gets fucking hit with that big dose of spice, when they're rescuing the spice crawler, like he doesn't have goggles on then. It's like, bro, like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, I get it's Timothée Chalamet on screen, but like, homeboy should have goggles on. He's got a hood on. He's covering everything else. No, he should have goggles on. Like, right, like. So no, he had. Glad he had goggles in the scene. Fucking but no, it was cool, man. And like once again, I thought the Stilgar, just like rejoicing and being so stoked that Paul actually rode the sandworm, because that's essentially like the final test for him to become Fremen. And the final thing for him to become like the Kwisatz Haderach is the Water of Life, which he does. So like, yeah, I thought the scene was sick, man. And like the worms looked dope. Them riding the worms into Arrakeen, I thought that looked awesome. I wanted more of that, in that final battle. But yeah, I thought that part was sick. Moral of that point.
It's pretty good. No, I'll be honest, there wasn't much that wasn't well executed.
Yeah,
I thought my favorite part was the black and white sun thing. Very quickly are just like under our black sun, and you just accept it. Okay, right, and everything's in black and white, and black and white IMAX is cool, and the fight scene was good, and I liked that the guy. You told me you really don't want to co-smoke.
I'm going. I gotta go with spirits, man. After that movie, man, I'm going to be chain smoking, man. That got me all riled up.
Fucking
got me hot and bothered. All rocked up for Dune Part 2, brother.
Hell yeah, brother. it was epic, dude, and it look, it scratched all the itches it needed to scratch. I'll give it that for sure. You know, so but I will say, if it doesn't become this like iconic film, the main reason will be that the climax was not climactic enough.
The pacing of that, they cut out.
When I found out that they probably cut out the banquet, for instance, from the first one, it's like, okay, you already have a 3-hour movie. Give me this context, because at least then when the payoff comes, it's going to make a lot more sense. There
could have been more. There absolutely could have been more when Paul dresses down the Emperor and his consort. There's none of the interaction with the the guildsmen, the representatives of the guild, which in the book there are, and it's such a great interaction of Paul just like essentially like I think he goes on, it's like a tangent of like he's like damming the river, right? Like the guild have always been the village that sort of dips the water out of the river. They've never tried to control it. He's like, no, I am the fucking dam of this river. I now control the flow of it. The way you guys have operated for thousands of years, your institution, it will change effective immediately. Because if not, he knows the secret of how to destroy it, right? The whole process of spice, how it's made, it can't be made anywhere else. So he has
them by the balls.
Yeah, he has them by the balls. And in the book, you feel that weight, and you're just like, oh, fuck yeah. Like, his monologue is so good. And even his monologue to the Emperor in the book.
This is in Dune Messiah?
No, this is just at the end of Dune.
Oh, so there were guild navigators?
So guildsmen. They're not fully formed navigators. So the first time you meet, like, a fully formed navigator is in Messiah, right?
Yeah, they didn't do that at all.
They didn't. And I
really... They'll do it in Dune... Are they going to call it Dune Messiah?
I think so. I bet they will. I bet they will. Because they referred to him so much as Messiah in this movie, and like they talk about the holy war.
They didn't use the word jihad once.
No, it's all holy war.
They avoided that shit. That's what I mean, by the way, when on the way out we were talking about the Zendaya ending. We can finally get to that.
Yes.
Which
is I do have a critique with the ending.
Apparently, in the book, she does not leave indignantly at Paul's betrayal of her love.
She's already been converted. Like, like pretty compared to the movie, she converts to Paul like much earlier, like believes in him.
You can change this.
She doesn't bend the knee to him.
But we can't get a little bit better of a final action sequence.
And
that seems like a bigger change.
And he explains to her in the book like what his plan is. Like he's
like geese.
Oh damn! Hopefully they don't come over here trying to fuck shit up, bro.
Those suckers are mean, man.
I hope they come into view of the camera. That's a lot of geese.
That is. That's a lot of geese.
I'll give them some popcorn.
But like in the book, he explains to her like it's he's gonna marry Princess Irulan, but it's gonna be title only. He will never sleep with her. He's never gonna share a bed with her. He's not gonna father any children. So her line, so she's done. And it's basically going to be very embarrassing for her and for her father, right? Just a further emasculation of the Emperor. That's hilarious. You guys can see it. So while Chani is disappointed and she is kind of like pissed, like she's already bent the knee, if you will. You know what I mean? Like she's already bent the knee to Paul and she knows that he is the one. So for her to storm off and like she's about to ride a sandworm and that's how the movie ends, it's like, well, that's not good at all. Like that's not satisfying. That was not satisfying.
I'm sorry, what wasn't satisfying?
Just distracted by the viewers have already heard it. You're easily distracted by the geese. How stoned are you?
This can't end well.
I'm gonna flip my cigarette at this bro. Let's go out there and kick him
No,
in the
don't do
neck.
it. I want to give him a popcorn.
No, don't, dude, because they'll fucking all come over here.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, and we're gonna get we're gonna have to deal with a fucking mob of geese showing their fucking teeth to
This
us,
one's
dude.
coming over anyway.
I'm gonna fuck him up, dude.
He's strutting, dude.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely is.
He's eyeing us down.
Yeah, this podcast has been hijacked by geese.
That's hilarious.
I am the captain now.
Oh my god. What's up, buddy? Man, I'm gonna name him Frank. He's got like a Frank from the Docks vibe. He's just like, oh yeah? We'll see about that.
You're looking at a fully formed guild navigator. AKA a goose.
What is going on here? What's up, dude?
All right, anyway,
Anyways.
back to Dune. So yes, the ending of that was very perplexing, and I don't understand why he decided to have Chani still just walk out, literally just walk out on Paul. That is not satisfying, and I don't approve of that.
Yeah,
So
no, I
that's-
agree. What I heard what the original ending is, which is that apparently he makes it very clear that this is a political marriage.
Yeah, that's what I
and
was.
he's
That's
gonna
what I was
have
saying.
her-
That's
yeah.
what you missed when you were
Okay.
distracted by the geese. Yeah.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
a way better ending.
Yeah, that should have been. And you said you weren't so you were saying if people were going to complain it was sexist. Honestly, if the idea of that interaction,
I'm just saying they played it safe.
that's like
They're
well,
like,
I'm
okay,
just
we're
saying,
not gonna have any
fuck
bitches
those people. Those people
on the internet.
suck. If that's how those if they would take it's like
There's
get
a
a
reason they
fucking
didn't use
life.
the word jihad. It's the same reason.
That's
they
I
did
mean
that,
that's I mean yeah. I hear that, but that's the whole pacing of that final not act, excuse me, like that whole scene in the Emperor's globe there on Arrakis or whatever, like his like floating palace.
That was pretty cool.
It was super sick, dude. They just flew. It kind of felt like they flew through it a little bit.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest,
that's what I'm saying.
that's like one of the big reasons why it knocked it down. If you had given me more of Paul's monologue that's in the book, then I would have probably ended up giving this 5 stars. Legitimately, like if you give me more of the payoff at the very end, then I would say this is easily a 5-star movie. But that whole final sequence felt rushed.
They think people don't have the attention span.
And I thought the fight between Fade Routha and Paul was fucking really cool too, man. I thought that was good.
It was good. Could have been a little crazier.
When he okay, so you're talking about hoping it went over top before, Stilgar went a little bit more over the top, more cartoonish, right?
Right.
I wouldn't say cartoonish, but what I would say, I was happy that in the middle of the fight he knocks Paul down and he goes over because he sees that Paul's in love with Chani. He can, he spies it. Are you distracted by the goose again?
I'm listening. Falls in love with Johnny.
Right. And, Fade Routha sees oh, this is his girl, right? And he goes over there and he starts oh, is this your pet? He starts kind of
I was hoping that could have been a little bit more intense.
I was hoping it. He went a little further with it. He was just because the whole movie
Right.
he is so. Man, he does such a good job of just playing a despicable fucking creep. He kills so many people in this movie, which is fucking awesome. There were so many times in the movie, I'm just oh shit, dude. Someone hands him a knife, cuts him down immediately, turns around, cuts someone else, cuts the other servant down, kills a third servant just because, it's to try out the knife. You know what I mean? Now the blade could be a little sharper. I think that's what he says when he puts it back down. He's just a sick fuck, you know what I mean? And so in that part of the movie, I was kind of hoping when he addresses Chani, it's a little bit more in your face, you know what I
Lascivious?
mean? Yeah. And also in the book, there's a great part the first time that Paul cuts him, right? He doesn't really stab him, but he just cuts him. And it's after Fade has stabbed Paul once. Paul cuts Fade. And then Fade starts screaming about how he's been poisoned. He's trying to rat Paul out that he's poisoned his blade or whatever, which is something that Fade Routha always does. One of his knives is always poisoned. It's either the white or the black one, I forget which. So it's also just like such a snotty moment, you know what I mean? Where you're just like, fuck you, dude. You know what I mean? Like
I don't remember that at all. Yeah.
No, so that part's not in the final fight, and so again, just to go towards like,
Dude,
I was hoping for a little bit more.
The pacing of that final fight, what I was hoping for that I didn't get was when he says the thing about, is this your pet?
Yeah.
When he starts mocking his adversary's lover. You fight some more. The mocking and the trash talk they intensify.
Right. It escalates a little bit more. Right.
And then fight some more.
Right.
And then the really bad trash talk. And then he kills Paul. And then Paul kills him.
Right. Like Paul, because like Paul, it's
how's Paul not dead? That was right through the heart.
No, it's I think the opposite side of the heart. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, you're right.
I'm pretty sure. I think it's like right here. But like, dude, he gets. I mean, the blade is like fully in him. Like Fade gets him good, and I was like, oh fuck, dude, because like, and when he stabs him too, like, that part was cool because you felt the weight. I mean, like that was kind of a moment of like, as someone who's read the book, I was like, oh shit.
Like, dude, and some more taunting after
and the shot of Fade like with the blade and Paul gripping the blade, like I thought that was fucking sick. And I mean, it gets really fucking close to Paul, and then you realize, oh, it's over, right? See, I was kind of thinking that there would be something else, on top of that, but then you realize like, oh, it is a nod to like Gurney Halleck in the first movie when they're in that training scene. Paul thinks he has him, or like Paul clearly has Gurney, but Gurney's like, hey, but look down.
Yeah, that's
I've
true.
got you. So it's a cool nod, but man, give me a little bit more. I guess like if that's the final interaction, that's dope. But give me just a little bit more before that's the final like parting of ways.
Like this is the showdown, dude.
Yeah, this
is the moment where your movie can transcend into greatness.
Yeah.
With some like really just like evil shit.
Yes.
You know,
and they build it,
and they so the battle scene and then the duel were both, I thought, shortchanged.
Yeah, and the pacing of when he fires the atomics and the sandworms come into the city, I was so hyped. I was just like, fuck yeah, dude, here it is, let's go.
You should leave the geese alone at this point. Well, whatever.
I'm actually surprised they've not tried to like yap at one of them, but it was so sick. But I wanted more of it. I just did. Okay. Sorry, were you gonna?
No, that's okay. So okay. with like,
there's a couple of little changes I want to talk about. For sure before we wrap up, I
wasn't trying to even wrap it up. I was trying to just say something. But
no, piggyback off. Yeah, what we were talking about. Sorry.
Well,
I'm an excitable boy.
To bring it back to, like. Trying to think of another example other than the Battle of Helm's Deep, but like it's hard. Where like, okay, you've got your second in a trilogy, you got a huge battle at the end, right? Like, this is the battle that's going to decide the fate of this kingdom, right?
Mm.
Where is the, where, like, it just didn't climax enough. It didn't like get my heart rate up.
Just wanted more. I wanted more of it.
Like I'm like, all right, here we go, and then it's done.
A good example. Okay, you mentioned Godfather 2 earlier,
it's like
right?
getting fucked, and the guy only lasts 30 seconds.
You got experience with that?
Right in the ass.
What?
No, but you know, that's the obvious metaphor.
Well, also, okay, so this is not a big war, okay? But
trying to come multiple times here.
But Godfather Part 2, that's one where Michael orders the five easy for me to say, five mobsters. The hit on all their heads, right? He just takes them all out. That's a fucking like wild sequence in that movie, and it's kind of just like elevates the stakes. Where like, oh shit, this guy just like doesn't give a fuck, and that's part 2, right? When he does that, or is that part 1?
I think that he gets the guys who got his dad
in part 1.
In part 1, then he goes in hiding. And then he comes back, and I know in the end he kills Fredo of part 2. But he kills Fredo at the same time he's executing some big operation.
That's right.
Like he's taking. So
Right,
you're probably
so-
thinking of part 2, but
Okay.
I think he does some similar shit in part
Part
1.
one. I mean, I've not seen Battle of, the Two Towers, so I don't have much of the reference for Helm's Deep. Is that what it is?
So awesome. Oh my god.
But yeah, I did want more, and the pacing of that, I did have an issue with it. Like again, it seems like, obviously much more was shot. Give me 15 more fucking minutes, man. Which again was a big complaint I had with part 1 too. And for the record, I would have given part 1, I think, 4 stars on a scale of 1 to 5. Almost kind of honestly between 3.5 and 4. But like I would just lean towards 4 with it. But yeah, I just wanted more, and I felt like he could have taken the time to give us a little bit more, especially in the third act. Not so much the first act, and I love the middle portion of the movie because the second act is really when you get a lot of Fade Routha. And the sequence with him and Margot Finring, although it has changed from the book, is very, very good.
I'm just changing batteries. Keep going. We're still rolling here.
Still rolling. So, I loved, like, with Fade Routha, how they really lean into the idea of, like, hey, this is another plan for the Kwisatz Haderach. This is a backup plan for Paul if that doesn't work out. So much so that when Margot Finring goes to capture a seed, get his baby put in her, that whole sequence was fucking awesome. She brings the Gom Jabbar to him. It's so cool as a part of her seduction. She seduces him with the Gom Jabbar.
What's the Gom Jabbar? Is that the needle?
Yeah. So I was like, that's not in the book. It doesn't explicitly say that doesn't happen. He does have to be tested. But in the book, what's implied is that she goes there with her husband, who's not in the movie. Her husband's going there, Count Finring, to send a message on behalf of the Emperor. She's going there to basically have Fade Routha fuck her. To get a sperm and to get pregnant. And so she tests him while she's, in the movie, he sticks his hand in the box.
Yeah.
I
thought it was interesting that they did the same thing.
That whole sequence is cool, and I appreciate
because it's
that
also
they're
for the layman going to indicate that, like, this guy, like, even if they don't get it, they're like, oh, what if he's also the Kwisatz Haderach?
Exactly. There's a reflection, and that's what Fade Routha is supposed to be, is the Harkonnen equivalent to Paul, essentially, right? So, like,
Paul is a Harkonnen, apparently.
That's right.
Why is this such a big... That was, like, the first question I had. Just like, what do you think about finding out Lady Jessica's a Harkonnen? I was like...
Which I told you before. You said you don't remember.
I
This
didn't
guy
remember.
and his selective...
I was just like, I don't know.
It was
didn't
cool.
really matter.
It was cool how they
I
did
don't really
that.
care.
It was
Either way.
It was cool how they did that in the movie. And I'm not mad that they saved that for the final act of the movie. That's a huge reveal. In the book, that comes much earlier. But that was super cool. And the other big change that they make in the movie.
By the way, if a sparkling water company wants to sponsor us, I'd be down. I don't want Waterloo because I'm pretty sure they're owned by, like, Coca-Cola.
BlackRock.
Yeah. But there is a company, I won't say their name until we talk. But if you're in Texas, you've had them. It's the best fucking...
Yep.
If not Waterloo. It's the best fucking sparkling water I've ever had in my life. It's like some mineral water.
We know what's up. If you know, you know.
If you ever go to Sagebrush, they got it. Anyway, as you were saying.
So, a big change that they make from the book. So, in the movie, in part 2, Lady Jessica never gives birth to Aaliyah. In the book, she is born, and she's essentially a toddler who walks around the final third of the book, speaking.
In part 2?
And
so she should have been born.
She should have been born, yeah.
I seem to recall her being born and having this whispery, shitty voice in the David Lynch one.
Yeah, so she...
Where it's like...
Yeah.
He is the Kwisatz Haderach.
Yes, yeah. So in the book, she's basically a toddler that is, like, fully developed mentally, and, like, she has all the memories of a Reverend
Anya Taylor-Joy,
mother.
apparently.
Which is pretty sick.
Who is apparently going to be the leading lady of her generation, huh?
Yeah, that was really cool, man. That was a great surprise.
But, like, is she not in, like, just, like, everything?
Yeah, she's killing it right now.
She's Furiosa.
Oh,
yeah, she's in everything.
Like,
who's been this big? Like, she's like Kate Winslet. She's, like, bigger than Kate Winslet.
Yeah, she's blowing up.
Right? Like, she's like Kate Blanchett. of her generation. That's what she is.
Out.
She's the Kate Blanchett of her generation. That's
So-
what she is. Right?
So
Is that not fitting?
that makes sense. Yeah, I buy
Right?
that.
She can be an action lead. She can be some mysterious ghost woman. Kate, they're both in an epic trilogy, apparently.
Yep. So
Woo!
So in the book, how the Baron dies is Aaliyah in that final sequence when they're all in
Oh,
the
yeah, so did the
Emperor's
Baron
employ.
die in the movie?
Yes. Yeah, did you not see that, dude? That was actually sick. That was a
Oh, right,
cool
right.
change.
That's right. Paul comes up and kills him.
And it was so just matter of fact and so swift. I loved it because it basically shows that he's officially like, it doesn't matter if they're family, there's no connection, there's no ties. He's fully committed to this path at this point of basically like unleashing the Fremen on the universe.
What was the golden path?
That's the thing about Leto being a sandworm. We're not going to go into that right now, though.
But
in
why
the
is it
book,
golden?
It's a long story, man. It's too much, honestly. We can get to that in the bonus segment. If you want to know what the golden path is, I'll talk about that in the bonus segment.
Okay.
And I actually will break it down. It's pretty fucking cool. I think you'll think it's pretty sweet. Personally, I think it would align with some of your ideals.
Okay,
I believe
well, so anyway, sorry.
So in the book, basically, it's Aaliyah who comes into the Emperor's palace there before Paul comes in, and she walks up to the Baron. She goes, "Hello, grandfather." She starts talking to him. He's freaked out. The Emperor, he basically is like, he's freaked out. It's chaotic because a bomb like explodes outside, and he grabs her and he's like, "Emperor, should I just like kill her?" He grabs her, and then as he grabs Aaliyah, she just pokes him with the Gom Jabbar, the poisonous needle, and then he dies. He like just floats away.
She's a Bene Gesserit.
Yeah, he just floats away, and as he fucking dies. It's pretty fucking sick.
But so does Paul now control the Bene Gesserit?
Yep.
So
Paul is about to lay down the law on everyone. That's what the Guild Navigators, the Guild itself, the institution of the Bene Gesserit.
I want to
he's
see a
the
little
Emperor.
bit more of that in this. Like, they didn't really allude to the darkness that awaits.
Well, dude, they cut out the final interaction, like in the book that he has with the guildsmen, where he's like telling them the radio
Yeah.
up to the guild and be like, "No, tell your bosses this is what's gonna happen, and if you don't capitulate, I'm gonna blow all of the fucking spice up, and everyone in the universe is gonna be."
I don't get why they're just like, hey, they don't accept it. It's like, okay, so he's gonna blow up the spice. Like, isn't that what he said? Are they calling his bluff? Is that what's happening? All the houses?
Okay, so that part. So okay,
Is that actually what happens in the book?
so in the book,
Do all the houses come to Dune?
a lot of the major houses do, but what they do is they come with the Emperor. So they're already in that floating palace. The Emperor's consort, if you will. They're a part of this like entourage of people. So all of these high-ranking families, these well-to-do people, the guildsmen, the Emperor's men, there's Sardaukar there. They're basically all of these highfalutin, powerful rich fucks coming
didn't do that
down
this one.
to watch the show. They're coming down to watch the Emperor put this fucking radical false prophet in his place. He's like caused such a
It's
disruption.
not clear even what gets the Emperor to come in this movie.
Well,
They're just like, oh, he took the bait.
Well, no. What
They
gets,
don't tell you what it says, though, other than that Paul Atreides is alive.
Yeah, that's so the reason why he goes immediately is because at that point, that's the like, oh shit moment for him, where he realizes the Baron and the Harkonnens do not have this under control at all. Like, he's already had a hunch, right? He's been thinking. It seems like with the numbers he's getting
they
back.
needed to hammer that home as well.
Well, again, that part, hey, I'm right there with you because I include that part with the final battle sequence where it's like I wanted more. I wanted more of it. So the great houses do come.
And the only reason I say that they definitely should have done more is because part of, again, I've never read the books. I never read, like Lord of the Rings mostly either.
Ain't much of a reader,
right?
are you, failer?
There's better things to read than Lord of the Rings. But like,
You don't need to spend 5 pages just reading about a type of grass, or...
Well, and that aside, it's like going into the movie blind, you can really judge it as a movie. You can just like, okay, it doesn't... Whatever happened in the book doesn't matter to me. Because, like...
Right.
I haven't read the book.
Yeah, yeah.
So, there was never a point in Lord of the Rings other than Saruman joining with Sauron, which I thought was like... I remember when I was a kid, I was just like, why though? Why did he just decides?
It just kind of happens.
Yeah,
you don't get any of the...
You don't get any of the why. And I think there's some more why in the...
Coming up?
No, in the extended that they cut.
Oh, yeah.
But other than that, which like, even then, you're still kind of just like, this is my first time seeing this guy, so like, for him to turn... you can just take it as a given. Generally, everyone's motivation is very understood and like never really in question. Whereas in this one, when you're telling me some of this stuff, I'm like, oh man, that would have been cool.
Yeah.
Right? Like I've never had a Lord of the Rings fan tell me about something that happened in the books that wasn't in the movies where I was like, oh, that needed to be there. There's nothing in the extended versions that needed to be there.
Denis could have given us more. I mean, like, I think in both, and honestly looking back now in both movies, it's like, man, you could have just made them both legitimately 3 hours. I think in both movies, if they're 15 minutes more, like, there could have been so much more impactful. Because I love the execution.
Is there a director's cut of Dune?
Man, there isn't. And
they're gonna wait till the trilogy's over.
Denis in all these interviews, he just seems so fucking staunch on like so staunchly against doing a director's cut. Like, no, that's the movie.
That's how you market it. They go, oh, but they got him to do it.
But dude, hopefully so. I'm fingers crossed because honestly, I think both movies, I love both of them. I fucking really enjoyed this. I can't wait to watch it again. But I wanted like 15 more minutes, man.
You know what it also isn't? You know what the other thing is that like sets it apart from Star Wars or Lord of the Rings, like the things it's chasing? Or even Harry Potter, maybe.
It's not even chase. I mean, like, I guess chasing in the sense of like,
as a studio project.
What it
as a business
yeah.
proposition for Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
It's not a game changer in special effects. So that's probably a big reason why I'm not giving it extra leeway that I'm giving like those movies, because it's not like those are perfect movies, dude. Like,
the special
Return of the Jedi stinks.
It looks so good though, man. It looked awesome. Like
what?
Like I mean, Dune Part 2. I thought like it looked
stunning,
good
for
dude.
sure. But it
like I thought like I thought the
like
effects
hold up.
were great.
The effects are very, very good. I absolutely agree.
But
it's also like not that much. It's not like that effects heavy.
A lot of it's in camera.
Well, it's also you just don't get that much battle shit.
Right? No, yeah. No,
so like
for sure.
There's not like that many effects that are like really super. It's just more creative production design.
Yeah.
While people talk.
Yeah.
You know, and there are action scenes, but they're all with swords, right? And that's cool, but that's not effects, right?
Yeah.
Whereas like, you know, with Star Wars and Lord of the Rings, you've got this crazy amount of like makeup, and like you've got Yoda puppets.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, at the time, if you went and saw A New Hope, as it was just called Star Wars at the time, in theaters, that had to have blown your mind. Like, you just look at all the other movies from around then, and like none of them have effects like that good.
Right. No, for sure. Yeah. I mean, it's like
at all. Yeah. And whereas, like, I look at this, it looks about as good as, you know, anything in the digital. Like, I wonder, is there anywhere really?
I think it looks incredible.
But is there anything like post Avatar? Can really anything grab that mantle?
Oh, dude, honestly, I would take stuff like that over Avatar personally.
No. I mean,
just like the spaceships and like
it's obviously better than Avatar, but Avatar made like $2 billion.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, the thing is, like,
but why did it? Because the special effects were completely unprecedented. That's the only, it was a.
Oh,
it was a ride.
no, for sure. I mean, yeah, it's
just a ride. It's a road
It's
show
an
attraction.
effects-driven movie. That's.
This is not that.
Dune is not that at all. No,
Right.
no, it's not.
So that's
No.
one thing where like you're gonna judge it a little bit differently than you're gonna judge Lord of the Rings.
There's a lot. There's like
You know what I
just,
mean?
There's. Dune is just like very much like a space soap opera. Like that's really like what the book was. You know what I mean? Like and so, and there's like
Space opera.
There's a lot of. I mean, it's very philosophy heavy, and it's
Yeah, there wasn't enough philosophy in these movies.
and.
I'm serious.
No, I mean, no. I think a lot of it was. I think. Well, they did a good job of squeezing that in quickly and not being too like not having it bog or slow the movie down. But I think like the questions
a little more psychedelic with like a voiceover from Paul and like some dreamy Terrence Malick shit. You know what I mean?
I do wish part 2 was a little bit more psychedelic whenever Paul, like when he underwent the water of life ceremony. I was really hoping for some more visions and some like really crazy visuals.
All he does is he sees his sister.
Because there's that, like, and you saw that already
and she's
with
like,
Jessica.
"Come with me," right? Is that all she says?
Yeah.
What
like
does that
mean? Well, I think.
What is she? This man?
No, I think that's just supposed to be. Well, it's sprinkling.
Psh, a couple drops of water never hurt nobody, dude.
I think that's just supposed to be like they will go on the path like together. Like she will like help guide him, like be there with him. I think that's all that actually was. But like I think there should have been like that could have been a cool time to allude to like the destruction that his path is going to bring on the universe, right?
Other
or it
than
could have
this
been a
one
good
image you've shown me already of people starving.
right.
It's like, okay, but wasn't the point that now it's a lot less vague?
Now, granted, you get that in the first one. You get, but I would have liked to. I would have liked to see that more.
Was the people starving in the first one?
No. Like you get. I mean, I guess you do get a couple shots of legions of like fanatics having like already. I guess like killed a people. Look at that massive bucket.
Barely made a dent in this shit. Sorry. As you said.
But it could. But I mean, I actually could have used more of that as well.
Because that seems to be what you were talking about mostly is how awesome like the themes of the book are, and I'm like, okay,
they nailed the questions.
Here's the thing. I didn't really pick up that shit from the movie itself. I picked most of that shit up from things you've already told me.
I think like they realized that. I think they probably just were afraid that they would bog people down with like a lot of the really really specific things. But like they nailed the politics and the backstabbing in this movie. Like they really helped bring that out. And the economic aspect of it, that was cool. I loved that they focused a lot more on the Bene Gesserit scheming and the breeding plan and sort of what their plans were. I thought that was awesome that they actually showed more of a light on that and showed the Bene Gesserit at work. So that was cool. And then again, the questions I think it brings up about religion or how they sort of like
this company wants to sponsor
they deal with religion as a theme in the movie. I thought was really cool as well. So I think there's a good amount of I think philosophy in the movie, and sort of like questions that it poses.
Like what?
And I think Paul's journey.
Like what?
I think Paul's journey also showcases that. Well, for one.
And how does it pose them?
Well, for one, it's it goes to the idea of like, okay, so these are the good guys, right? Like, so
how did this movie?
Like, is it black and white? At one point, they bring up how like it's not black and white. You know, the idea of a good guy and a bad guy, and how much you missed it. I mean, yeah, he says it. I mean, they come right out, and he says that it's not black and white. Basically, like black and white is not what the end outcome is. And basically the idea of like how you deal with charismatic leaders, right? And it's like, oh, these guys are the good guys, and again, like they're going to take power, they're going to seize power. Now what? Well, and then it lends into the idea of like, well, what happens if the most fanatical religion happens to seize power, right?
No, they didn't really examine any of this shit.
Yeah, they did for sure. I think people, if you go watch the movie, like watch it again. I mean, definitely we should definitely. Watch
There's
it.
a little bit of hey, question religion.
No, I think
I got a little bit of that.
They'll pick up on that. But I don't even know if that's questioning religion per se. I think it's just sort of like showing how it works.
Well,
and
Zendaya's
sort of
whole
like
thing
the machinations of it, if you will. So yeah, I mean, I think those things were pretty clear, and there were a couple scenes that I think hit that on the nose. And then obviously, like, I mean, the politicking and the scheming. In the second act, all of the stuff with Reverend Gaius Helen Mahayam and Margot Finring. It was really cool how they used Margot Finring's character to showcase that, and they expand upon that more than they do in the book, which I thought was like a good call, and probably helps like the layman understand a bit more. Yeah, I mean, like that was.
I, as a layman, I hear it, all of it from you, and I'm like, yeah.
But you got the Bene Gesserit.
Cool.
You got the Bene Gesserit stuff, though, right? Like what's going on, like doing all of that. I mean, that was like pretty clear. I feel like even if you haven't read the book,
the movies don't make they don't make a comment about any of it. They just kind of show it to you, and they let you discuss it. And maybe that's smart in this day and age.
Well, I mean, no,
but it sounds like the book makes a little bit more of a comment.
No, they nailed the commentary of the book specifically. I think with like where they leave the movie, it's like,
what's
okay,
the book's opinion?
The good
what's
guys,
Frank Herbert's opinion on what happens?
I think his whole opinion is the idea of like you need to be skeptical and question leaders. That's his opinion.
I mean, didn't get that from
so. Oh, I mean, I think that runs through it, and it shows like again,
it's like no, he's the Messiah, so you should question him.
And the youth do and then not only the youth, which is kind of like how it sets up in the first part of the movie. Then they get to the final sietch, and there's all those people there who are very skeptical of him and seem to be the council of leaders, and they sort of want to throw down with him. You get that interaction, but then he just starts calling out all of these like specific things with those people, which was like a pretty sick moment. And they're like, oh shit, this guy does like see all of this. He can see the past and see the future.
I enjoyed when he used the voice.
That was dope. And that was really cool when he uses the voice on the Reverend Mother guy at the end. See, that was
satisfying.
And yeah. I mean, you sort of just again like
But there's not enough
I wanted it to go up
Paul
from that.
Yet.
I think the last third of that act, I remember thinking like, man, I thought he pulled him leaning into his terrible purpose, that darkness, really well. Like basically after the water of life sequence, I thought like he really leaned into that very well.
Water of Life should have been more like Darren Aronofsky and Noah shit.
That should have been more psychedelic.
Yeah.
It really should have. And I'm
you
surprised.
You know what I mean? Have you seen Noah?
Yeah. No, I'm very surprised
scenes,
it wasn't, man.
Oh my God.
I'm very surprised it wasn't. And I kind of thought that might be the point where we get maybe a glimpse into the golden path. He sees that as like an option for him, and he's just like, no, like I cannot do that. Because you find out later on that as he indeed sees that. But he's like, no, I'm not going to do that.
Why is it okay? We can't just like talk about why it's the golden path, and why is none of this in the movie,
dude? Because like, man, that shit just like they really, man, it's like one of those things. He just refers to it as the golden path for like, I swear to God, like 2.5 books, and you have no idea what it is.
Right, but why didn't they use it? That's a great term.
And then God,
he's like, and I've chosen not to do it.
I thought they were. Man, there was one scene where I was just like, he's describing the two options that he sees. And I'm like, oh fuck! It's like it's about to happen. He's just gonna say, he's like he'll just come right out and call it the golden path or something like that, you know. But he doesn't. as a Dune nerd, that would have been a cool nod to get. But I mean, realistically, dude, you don't find out like what the purpose of that is until the 4th book and the 5th book. So and it's
They should have started alluding to it.
Honestly, what it is, do you want me to just give you a quick summation of it?
Yeah.
Okay, here it is. It's essentially conditioning human beings to appreciate freedom, to appreciate personal freedom and personal. Yeah, that's what I'll leave it at. There's an appreciation for
Does that mean hedonism?
autonomy. No. Like, because Dune is so much about like order, right? And having, like, living in tyranny or having strong leaders, you know, and to basically instruct the people and control everything, to where people don't need it. It's like to form their own path. So it's just like more like democratic. Like that's like, I guess, sort of like the ideal is like you should be able to make your own choices and make your own way, right? Without the help or the guidance of a strong leader. But essentially, he puts humanity through like 4,000 years of just absolute tyranny to get them to the point where he's bred them and conditioned them to like be capable of truly appreciating freedom. That's what the Golden Path is. And it's basically God Emperor is like 500 pages of him, this giant worm god, waxing philosophically about this. And then the other part is people wondering if he has a penis or not. It comes up multiple times. It's pretty hilarious.
I like that. That's thematically interesting.
So I mean, it's a good book, but they don't allude to that. Paul killing Baron Harkonnen, like, dude, it's so swift. Like, I feel like that's great because like that shows his conversion to his terrible purpose. Yeah, merciless. Like he has chosen this path.
But why would you show that guy mercy?
Right, he's not deserving of it at all.
Right.
Like, I
didn't see him be merciless to someone who didn't deserve it. And it sounds like you're saying that is coming.
Well, it's not even like by his. He's not personally doing that because yes, everyone that he's given it to thus far has had it coming, but it's basically just like the Fremen are such fanatics, they're such zealots that they just terrorize the universe. He cannot control them at that point. Why and because the religion, because like, it's a lot of stuff in Messiah about how like his prescience at this certain point kind of runs dry, or it's almost like he kind of just throws his hands up in the air and is just like, I can't do anything to sway them at this point. He's just lost control of it. And it's
what's their motive?
The roots of the religion have spread so deeply throughout the Emporium. And he's just like put a stranglehold on everything economically and politically that like, there's no going back, and no one can compete with him, right? I mean, he's got the largest army, the best fighters, and again, that's sort of what they speak to even more about like religious fanaticism, right? Like, it's like an unquenchable. Well, I'm stoned now.
Thirst?
No, it's probably no. It's like a fire that you just can't put out at that point. You know what I mean? And that eventually ends to the ending of Dune Messiah, which is like a lot of people view it as very cynical. It's not a happy ending. So at that point, you definitely realize like Paul's not a good guy, and it very much starts to set that up with Lady Jessica and Paul in this movie. This idea of like, man, like, yeah, they have been fucked over, and they are sort of giving it to those people, but you already see like, I feel like they did a good job of like showing it like this is like really boiling up, and this might not be something that you can easily control. You know.
And so, at the end of Dune Messiah, I guess.
I mean, I don't want to spoil that. Like, because that's going to be the third movie. this
Doesn't he like abandon being emperor?
I'm not gonna say anything about Dune Messiah. I've never read the book.
When's it supposed to come out?
So he wants to make another movie before he comes back to Dune Messiah. Like,
What?
he said he wants to give it a few years.
Boo.
I think he wants to have like, Timothée Chalamet age up a little bit.
Boo.
Because Messiah takes place 12 years after.
Yeah,
Dune.
but just use effects.
He's so goddamn skinny, you know. He might have to like give him a chance to get some sort of fucking meat on his bones, man.
Does Paul end up muscular?
Well, it's not that he's like, jacked by any means, not at all. But like, he's a trained fighter, and at this point, in Messiah, he's a full-grown man. You know what I mean? Like he's in his early 30s. I think it's like very close to like Christ.
Timothée Chalamet?
Timothy's probably was his early mid-20s, I guess, right? Mid-20s, maybe.
Is he now in his late 20s?
Is he? I'm not sure.
How much
to be
younger
honest
is he
with
than us?
you. Is he late 20s? I mean, I don't know, to be honest with you. So I mean, yeah, there's a few changes that I think people who read the books, like, they're gonna be some pleasantly surprised at. I think some surprised at. As of now, like, the only thing that I am like kind of vehemently opposed to is like how they the way they ended with Chani sort of snubbing him. That's the thing that I like, and to have the movie end on that, like, I knew he said the ending was more tragic, but I'm like, so wait, is Chani just gonna leave? Is she not gonna be with Paul in the second one? Like, what the fuck's gonna happen? Or is this just gonna be like a big time lovers quarrel, lovers spat?
Here's the thing, dude.
The
way they ended the whole movie.
Yeah, that was disappointing. I mean,
The issue there for me is, and now you're telling me he's gonna make another movie in between, so you're gonna leave me with a cliffhanger.
Yeah, man.
And you're not gonna follow it up.
We're hanging on the cliffs right now, dude.
That's how Avatar 2 bombed. Is it took too long. You didn't capitalize on it. Like, this is okay. Not to go off on Lord of the Rings again, but the thing that made Lord of the Rings possible, like if you watch the podcast we did, Michael Maroney, I believe, mostly, but also Robert Maroney, were very emphatic about the idea that not like this just doesn't happen that often. Like you can't like get this little studio interference on like a budget this big. You know what I mean? Like they did it for astonishingly little money. Partially.
Like, dude, I don't even think it's
just
like
Star
studio
Wars.
interference with this, man. I think it is
Well,
just
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying
I think it was just Denis just like
the way that they
cutting
were
all that
planned
stuff, man.
was
Right.
they were planned as one movie with the potential for two, essentially. Is like we can do it in one, but we want to do two. And every other studio is like, well, if you can't do it in one, we're not interested.
Right.
Right. And Harvey Weinstein, which, all right, maybe he wasn't nice to women, but in terms of other fat guys, he was really nice to them, apparently, because he said to Peter Jackson, like, aren't there 3 books? And he was like, well, yeah, but, like, you know, I'm not stupid. Like,
Yeah.
and he was like, well, why wouldn't you just make 3 movies? And it's like the first thing to really ever like do, like, this is why like Pirates of the Caribbean did this with their second and third. They're trying to mimic this business model.
Right. And they were
Where
just
it's like you
bad.
fund them all at once and you film them back to back.
Mm-hmm.
They just filmed it all as one giant movie.
Yeah, but I mean, there's
Like,
not
why
like
is that not happening with Dune?
There's not like an age gap in that big of an age jump, is there? Or you know, I
mean,
think like because like, dude, I
No,
mean, I don't know,
but
like
they
right
do
now,
makeup to make people age.
I don't know if Timothy. I mean, I don't know if he would pull off the like Messiah thing right away. You know, I don't
Okay.
like the.
Or recast it then.
Oh, and that would. I mean, that's
An older man.
That's so tricky nowadays. I think to do that stuff, man. I think
Dude,
like
that's why Robert De Niro's famous.
you gotta like.
He played Marlon Brando.
Yeah, it's one of the few times that works to when it's like, okay, for sure, we'll buy this. You know.
I disagree, dude.
I think it's so
was it-
hard to do recasting well, man.
Dude,
I mean, like the Dumbledore and Harry Potter,
this
like,
is
that's
something
fine. Like,
I wish we talked about when we did Indiana Jones. Because the idea that you're just going to kill off Indiana Jones's son because I'm addicted to popcorn. I need to remove this temptation. Fucking Mutt's just dead,
Yeah.
right? Not really explained. When did he die in Korea? How did he die? I forget.
Yeah, he dies in a war. One of
Must have died in Korea or Vietnam or some shit.
yeah.
So, like, dude, why did you, if they're like, oh, everyone hated Shia LaBeouf, well, why did you not just recast the role? Like, why, like, what happened to that? Like, James Bond hasn't been the same actor for like 50 years.
Right,
You know,
right,
like,
yeah. I mean,
roles can be recast.
but I mean, also, I guess it's like, that's very true. They can, but it's, yeah, man. I think after you get a guy like Timothée Chalamet, though, like,
he doesn't have like the personality of a Harrison Ford,
no.
where it's like you
But
can't,
I guess,
can't recast that.
But this day and age, I mean, like,
you know what would have been sick? Nick
I
Cage
don't.
as Paul Atreides in Dune Messiah.
Oh god, dude. I mean, he'd probably be a little too old at this point. Maybe they bring back. No, Kyle MacLachlan would be too old too.
That'd be awesome
Give a nod to
to have him play old Atreides.
Yeah.
Do you ever see him get old in the books?
Man,
Do you see him through to death? When does he die?
who?
Paul.
I'm not gonna spoil that.
Okay, so he
I'm
doesn't live in old age.
I'm not gonna spoil what happens. But hey, I will say this: the other thing I'm very perplexed by, as I was waiting the whole movie to see Tim Blake Nelson, because they said that he was supposed to be in the movie, and they were being very secretive about his role. They weren't going to say what it was, and then he's not in the film at all. The other thing that's not in the movie at all, but apparently, I mean, I swear I thought the guy was in scenes. I thought I saw him in some stills, but like Stephen McKinley, the guy who plays Thufir Hawat, neither one of them make the
McKinley
cut.
Henderson.
Yeah, neither one of them are in the movie, and at the very end of the credits, it says Denis Villeneuve like specially thanked.
You told me
Those
like
two.
that guy's not dead, but I think
Yeah.
they just realized in the editing of this movie. You know what? People think this guy's dead. We don't really have time for him.
Because he's the one who he basically sets up the plot to, like, if I'm not mistaken, to not drug one of the fighters as a way to, like, either just try and kill Fade Raltha in the pit, or he knows that basically, like, the slave master will get killed and then he can gain control of it. Because the Harkonnen's using him as his mentat at that point. The Baron is. Thufir he's just using him as his own mentat after because Piter's dead. So that whole story is just completely gone, and that aspect is lost. Whoa! Wow! Ran over a glass bottle. Okay, ran over a glass bottle. There you go, folks. I mean, ran right over it, dude. What in the fuck, man?
So dumb.
Yeah. So dumb. I mean, like, that is impressively dumb.
Unfazed. Just
Dude,
boom.
yeah, dude, just like shattered glass, dude.
Just like Notorious B.I.G. and
Yep.
out.
Yep. See ya. See you
Oh
later,
man,
dude.
that was great.
Oh man, yeah. All right. That's
Oh man, that's why we
National
do these
Drivers.
from the lot, baby.
Yeah, you never know what you're gonna get.
We're from the lot, you know. Okay, so you're telling me do you have a lighter? Oh,
I do.
Got it. Never mind. You're telling me we're not getting Dune 3 for a while?
Yep.
Oh, such bullshit.
By the way, the gladiator sequence I just want to touch on again was so fucking sick in this movie. That was in the second act.
Dude,
that introduction
that was great.
So
Yes, that's
fucking
the best scene.
dope, dude. That was incredible. That's such an awesome chapter in the book. They did that justice, and then the way they wove in the Margot Finring storyline to that was fucking great.
Yes.
I mean, that
and
was...
I was like, thank God we've left
Arrakis, yeah.
Oh
it was
my God.
it was getting about that time. It's like, all right, we've spent enough time with the Fremen.
I get it.
Give me some more Harkonnen shit, boys. Like we sprinkled in a few some good Harkonnen stuff early on, and I was like, fuck yeah. Then you stay on Arrakis for a while,
Which is fine.
yeah, which is cool. But then it's like, yeah, you go back to Gaiety Prime, and it's for the fucking gladiatorial fight, and it is just so epic. And honestly, at that point in the movie, I'm thinking like, whoa, dude. All right, if this is how we're doing the gladiator fight, like the end. The Battle of Arakeen, the end,
Right.
it's gonna be fucking
Exactly.
insane,
It sets it up.
dude. I was like,
It
wow,
sets it
I
up.
can't even wait. Like, what the fuck is this gonna even look like? But yeah, I think that was definitely the best scene in the movie. I think that was the
For
best.
sure.
And
It's the most iconic thing they did.
yeah,
It's very simple.
that was
Well done.
The fight was fucking sick. The whole sequence, man, that was cool. And I wish you would have got that sort of that like sort of that type of gravitas for the fucking final, man, for the final encounter with
That's
the
the
Emperor,
thing, dude,
man.
Like
I need more
in
of
the
the
book,
monologue.
how
like-
much detail do you get on the fight?
Oh man, you get. I mean, like I said,
Like, what's the detail you get? Was there more details
There's-
to the fight that were not included?
there's a lot of the war shit happening going on. It's very dialogue heavy too. Again, so like that's why I was kind of expecting more of a monologue from Timothy Chalamet at the very end, because in the book it's very monologue
No, but
heavy.
I mean,
but it's also like
Herbert's description of the battle itself.
How
How many chapters is that?
I guess that's probably over the course of 2 chapters, and the 2 longest chapters in the book, if I'm not mistaken. 2 of the longest chapters in the book for sure, like 2 of the top 4.
Now, I never got there, but based on having read Fellowship, I believe when people say this is true, if I'm not mistaken in my memory, the Battle of Helm's Deep is like a chapter or something. Maybe it's 2.
Fair enough.
But, like,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
this is a huge book.
So that's probably similar to how it is in the
And
in
it's
Dune
like
as
he's
well.
just so much more interested in debating whether we're going to go north or northeast.
No, for sure. I mean,
or
that's-
northwest.
yeah, you know, Dune's-
but should we go south? And you're just like, okay, I'm done. I'm over it. He doesn't give a shit about the battle. The movies were like, no, hold on. So it turns out the entire fate of this kingdom is decided in this battle.
Yeah.
We might want to focus on that more than like hobbits wandering around in the trees. And
Yep.
like there should have been some of that, like just like consideration of me, the boorish consumer who has never read Dune and just wants to see some people kick ass.
Give me more of it. Yeah. Dude, I mean, I think, let's just say this. Like,
It wasn't triumphant enough.
Like, let's
I
just
wasn't
say-
like roused.
Let's say this. The third act.
You know what I mean by that?
Yeah, no, for sure, man. Yeah. I feel it. Like, the stakes could have been raised there. So let's say this. I think the third act itself, you could have given me easily 15 more minutes of the third act.
Right.
The fucking battle, the whole interaction with the Emperor at
Yes.
the end, and the interaction with the guild. You know, the third act, like, that's where it felt like, man, we're really breezing through this all of a sudden. Like, I've enjoyed the pacing throughout the whole movie, and that final act, it was just like, oh fuck, oh shit, wait, so that's it? That's all Paul's gonna say to the Emperor? I mean, for sure, you get what's going down, but like, okay, the Emperor talking to the Baron, man, in the book, I mean, it's so much. He scolds him in this, but it's succinct. It's
Yeah,
short.
it
and
should have
succinct.
been more Christopher Walken.
In the book, he goes in.
Let
like,
him ham it
yeah,
up.
dude. And they start. He starts when he asks him. He's like, "Tell me what you know about this prophet, this Muad'Dib." And the Baron just, like, can't give him shit, and he's just like, more. And then he's just like, so that's all you've got, you know? And in the book, he proceeds to go from that point of like, are you fucking kidding me? You've got the plan. This is all the fucking intel you've got? The whole fucking planet, you know? And then he just proceeds to just like dress him down, cut him down to size even
Yeah, I
more
would've loved
in
to
front
see
of
more of
yeah.
that.
It's just like expanding upon that. That's when he tells him he's like in the book he's like, basically, I'm paraphrasing here. Hey, Dick, you realize there's millions of Fremen on this planet, and you're telling me you've killed 15,000 or 20,000? And how much resources have I sent to you? How many men have I helped you with? Like, are you, like, you basically, and he just tells him, like, you have no clue how off base and how fucking out of touch you are. And I have to come down here and clean up your fucking mess. Like, that's basically
I
what
would
it
have liked
is,
to have
dude.
seen that.
Yeah, it would have been sick. Christopher Walken, he starts it, and I'm like, oh, fuck yeah, dude, give me the tongue lashing. And then it, just onward to something else. So, that was, I could have used more of that at the end. I could have.
I'm gonna switch lights. Haha! We've done it. Sucker. Thought you could get me. but
Got
you
that
couldn't.
blue light.
Well, yeah, so, like, okay, I think that is a rather important summation, because
Yep.
here's the other thing, dude. Like, there's kind of a... My God, there we go. Sorry. There's kind of a formula, actually, to all three Lord of the Rings movies, which is Lord of the Rings shit, gigantically awesome action scene or two. Right?
Right.
And more often than not, two.
Got you.
Massive things. Like, either... In Fellowship, part of why I like it the most, actually, is because it's the most intimate, in a sense. Like, the battles are the most...
Yeah.
like small scale. It just gets like bigger and bigger.
Yeah,
dude.
yeah,
It just
more and
gets
more epic. Uh-huh.
It's so much more epic. Like, because Two Towers, you're just with like the secondary kingdom. You don't even get to the primary kingdom of Gondor
Oh, shit. Okay.
until the third movie, really.
Okay.
I think there's some stuff, but like anyway, fucking, I don't want to ruin it. But like, and then after you deal with that, you still have to go to Mordor.
Right.
Right,
You
so,
still
like,
not
there's a
even-
lot
you
of,
still
like,
not even reached hell
There's a lot of
yet.
steps you gotta like
Yeah,
ratchet it up to, right?
Yeah.
So each movie spends like about half the movie on like just like fucking awesome action.
Yep. Yep.
You know? And like you just where it's like, yeah, am I learning more about Tolkien's opinions on life from watching Legolas just kick ass for like 10 minutes? No. But is it like kind of like the necessary carrot to get me through all that other shit? Like, I don't
Right.
give a shit about the pointy ears unless it means you can do some really insane kung fu
Right.
or whatever, right? Like,
Right.
you're the king, show it, like. That's some screaming.
Yeah, this little dude up here.
I was like, but yeah,
Yep. They're wilding.
like,
Parking lot's wild now.
Paul didn't throw his dick down on the table enough.
I wanted more, man. And it does seem like the way it was edited, too. And that's the only part of the movie where I was like a little off.
And now you're not going to give me 3?
It's like,
oh my God.
It's like, yo, it was edited in a way
I might
that makes
have to
me
knock
think
it down
that
to
it's like, yo,
3.5
dude,
stars.
they definitely filmed more. Like, there's more there, they left meat on the fucking bone there. And yeah, I wanted more of that, man. I wanted all of it. It really kind of just like
Is the
skirted
rumor
through.
that Dune 4 is going to be a TV show? Is that what you said?
No. I was just like, I think I said in passing that I wonder if like Children of Dune, if that would just make a better TV series, than just a single movie. Because it's very long. I think might be the
You can just do
longest
Children of
one
Dune
outside
Part
the
1 and 2.
original. Definitely could. You could definitely do 2 parts out of that again. And Children of Dune is really fucking good, man. And honestly, go read Messiah. And Messiah is much more succinct than the first Dune. It's much shorter. The plot is much more streamlined. The scope is much more narrow. It's basically just like revolves. It's not a spoiler. It just revolves around a conspiracy against Paul. A plot between 4 different factions to kill Paul. It's really fucking good. Like I said earlier, people think the ending's cynical. I love the ending. I love Dune
Is
Messiah.
Paul in God Emperor of Dune?
No,
Okay, so he dies at some point in Children of Dune.
he is not in God Emperor. I will say that.
Okay.
And so,
Yeah, turn it into 2 movies, whatever.
and then Children of Dune.
Make me come to the theater.
It
It's
focuses
fun.
on the children.
IMAX is awesome.
And it's sick, dude. Children of Dune is fucking dope. They kind of like so Dune Messiah, like again, it like narrows the scope, and then Children of Dune like opens it back up again. You know what I mean? And it's cool. So I would love to see, man. Hey, I would be down.
My ranking is dropping.
You going 3.5?
To 3.5.
Wow, he's going 3.5. What would you give the first one?
4.
So okay. So like the
I'll
first
give it
one?
4.
The same.
After repeat viewing,
Right.
it's pretty well done.
Yep.
Okay, did Duncan Idaho die cool enough? No. Like,
Man, he's
he
like
doesn't
if he's
Do you
good.
remember my original critique?
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah,
was that
absolutely.
it didn't match Boromir? Do you get why I say that now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like, when Boromir does it, it's like a big deal. Like, they'd really drag it out.
Duncan, he falls down after he gets back
He gives
up.
a speech.
Oh yeah. I don't want Duncan Idaho to give a speech there, but I at least want him to
I
take
would have
another.
followed you to the end.
I want him to take another
My
blade to
brother.
the chest.
My captain. My king.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
The fact I even know that
Yeah.
is stupid.
Yeah. I mean, I know the litany against fear, so I'm right there with you, man. I'm right.
But, like, nothing in this movie, like, other than Fear is the Mind Killer.
Yeah, the litany against fear. That's sick.
That's a great line, but there's no Luke, I am your father moment here. And then you're telling me beyond that you're not going to give me number 3? That immediately drops it down as a temporary 3.5 stars.
I think upon
With the
another, I think
potential
you bring
for-
it back up 4. I think you bring it back up to 4. if
It
you
could
watch
go
again.
up to 4.5
Yeah, I think
with the right delivery.
let's go see it in
on number
4DX
3.
and let's do like just a bonus segment, just like a shortened segment, a follow up. We'll see if I stay at a 4.5. Gives me an excuse to talk more Dune.
Okay.
He's just like, yeah,
I'll do it.
I've battered him into
We'll-
submission
no, we'll
for
bring-
you.
we'll get-
like
we'll
a
get-
battered spouse.
We'll get Alex on it.
Hell yeah, dude, let's bring Alex in.
Yeah.
Yo,
Our buddy
that'd be
here has a very good podcast
Yeah.
called Rhetoric Rabbit Hole.
Oh,
Loves Dune,
That'd
so
be sick, man.
we're gonna draft him to drop
Maybe we can get Connor in on it too
$25 or whatever the hell it is.
for the 4D.
Is it like $40, bro? It
I
was
don't know,
like-
man. Honestly, that's a good question.
Maybe
I'm
it's
not
like, I think that was for like 2 tickets. It was like $48. I think it's $24 a ticket. But like, you know what?
Yeah, for tonight it was 24 a ticket.
Oh yeah, so the 40X was even more, dude.
So it's probably like 30 something a ticket, I bet.
Yeah, dude, it's expensive.
Okay,
And
we'll
it's
figure it
like-
out. We'll arrange it.
Here's the thing.
This podcast bears no
I
expenses.
used
folks.
I used to do the D-Box shit when they called it D-Box.
Okay. Yeah.
It tricks you into thinking shitty movies are good movies. The way I know this is because we were like
Get out of here, Goose.
I'm trying to remember what movie we were trying to see, but it was sold out or some shit, or like it was no longer playing or something, and it was actually this really funny moment of, I'm not sure whether it was like I was psychic or I was just not aware of my surroundings at all. Like, it's one or the other. But I'm talking with my buddy Kevin as we're waiting in this line, and we're stoned, and we're just like, this is the longest fucking line
Okay.
ever. Oh my god, this line's taking so long. So, and I'm like, dude, you know what would be sick? Is if, like, you ever like take like the motion simulator ride at the zoo?
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I was like, what
Yeah.
if they did that, but like in movie theaters, where like your chair's moving with the movie,
That'd be cool.
right?
That'd be cool.
And literally the example I used, by the way, no joke, was it's a reference to Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. I was like, you see the Battle of Pelennor Fields, and you're just like flying over that shit, just like whoosh, right? Like, it'd be
Right.
so awesome, like
Right.
flying with the camera. And they're going for it.
They're going after it, man.
They're thugging, dude.
Yeah.
Like, this is our only food source left. don't pay attention to them. They're riffraff.
The riffraff, yeah.
But so
Coming in off the street.
we get up to the ticket
Mangy.
booth.
Yeah.
Like, as I'm talking about how cool this idea would be, to the point where she's like, next. So I go up to the ticket booth, and whatever fucking movie we wanted to see, I cannot remember, but it was sold out. We couldn't get in. And I'm just like, okay, well, what else is fucking showing? And the only movie that we hadn't seen, because I spent a lot of my time at the drive-in theater. When I lived
God, I used to
summers at home with my
I
parents,
used to love drive-ins.
where am I
dude.
gonna go?
Fuck, man, I love
you know,
drive-ins.
smoke
It's so sick.
weed or like
Yeah.
drink a couple beers,
Yeah.
smoke some hookah.
Yeah.
Can't
Drive-ins
do
are
it at my
sick,
parents'
dude.
house. Yeah, so I
Bring 'em
loved the
back.
drive-in theater. It
Bring
was
'em-
amazing.
Fucking bring 'em back.
Ford,
dude.
Wyoming, and in Dearborn, Michigan. But so I'd seen most of the movies. The only movie I hadn't seen was Snow White and the Huntsman. So I was like, all right, let's see the Snow White and the Huntsman.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like, okay, fine. 2 tickets for Snow White and the Huntsman, please. She's like, do you want to see it in standard, 3D, or D-box?
And you're just
and I was
like,
like, standard.
whoa.
Well, no, I was just like, standard. Wait, what is D-box? And she's like, oh, it's like this thing where your chair moves with the movie, kind of like the motion simulator at the zoo. And I was just like, dude, my buddy and mine's jaw dropped.
And you're
Just like, dude, we were just
"Yo,
talking
let me
about
get
this.
that."
And then I noticed there's like I'm pretty sure like a huge poster for it. Like, right? Somehow I must have been, I don't know, dude. It was so weird. So I go in and I had a great time, dude. Like, Snow White and the Huntsman's this like stupidly epic take on Snow White.
Yeah. Yep.
Where you're just like, oh man,
I synced it.
like, yo, what if we made Snow White into like a Pirates of the Caribbean movie?
Yeah.
And you're just like, I'm good.
Doesn't hold. Doesn't hold.
But so
Doesn't hold. Doesn't
I'm
take.
just like riding on the horses, you know?
Dude, give me that for the sandworm,
And-
bro. That'd be sick for the sandworm scene, dude.
And then I go and see this movie again at the drive-in because it was part of a double feature that I wanted to see the other movie. And I was like, this movie sucks. I remember really enjoying this movie. Like, if I'd done a review of this movie
Coming out in the D box.
after the moving chairs, I'd have been like, yo, that was awesome. That was so cool.
Getting a 5 out of 5. Yeah.
It's like a solid
Oh
2-star
my gosh, dude.
experience
Yeah.
without that shit. So, like, it's definitely not ideal for your first time viewing a movie if you give a shit.
Right.
I saw Man of Steel opening weekend in D-Box 3D, tripping acid.
Damn. Was that
Summer
pretty cool?
of like 2013. This is like right before I met Ben, like maybe like a month before I got to know Ben.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, dude. Like, it was so awesome. It was super cool.
That sounds rad.
I was just like, hell yeah, dude.
I always liked that one. That was a good movie.
Michael Shannon's just like
Yeah.
punching this guy into a gas station.
Yep.
You know, like just like showing off how strong they are.
Yep.
Like that's the shit you just, and I get it. You literally couldn't do it in the 80s or 70s or whatever the fuck they made that shit.
Right.
But like, that's why that movie was boring. Like the Christopher Reeves movie, I hated it. I was just like, okay, so he can fly
Yeah.
and he has tights.
Yeah.
Sick.
You're not
So lame.
you're not doing much for me.
Right.
Yeah.
But in this
Yeah.
one, like, he's just like an atom bomb
Right.
hitting a fucking block,
Yep.
a city block, you know? Like, it's so much more intense. Like, oh, these guys are like supremely overpowered for our
Right.
reality. This is not a good situation if you're anyone who isn't one of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, dude, Zack Snyder doing Dune. That would have been sick.
I don't know. I mean,
Snyder's Dune.
I don't know. I don't know if
I would watch it.
That
Would have given you an action scene,
I mean, yeah,
fucking
yeah.
end,
Maybe
dude.
they give us more of the Eric Kane.
you know?
Yeah. I mean, dude,
We got to watch Rebel Moon.
man.
Do you want to see? Okay, so Rebel Moon, I'm
Oh
pretty
yeah,
sure
the
second one comes out in June.
Oh damn. Okay.
But I think in June, it might be theaters only, or they're going to release the first one into theaters in like an R-rated cut or something like that.
Okay.
But we should do that because
Okay.
that'll be his chance to answer Dune.
Yeah, we shall see. It was good, man. Look, I think they're steering in the direction of Messiah good. This film, it was dark. It's much
But we're not
darker
going to get
than the
Messiah
first
for
one.
7 years?
Probably.
Is that, like, what are we talking here?
No, I mean, we're probably talking, like, at least 5 or 6 years, I think.
It'll be
Who knows,
2029?
Maybe the studio's like, no fucking way, dude. Maybe
Yeah,
they're
you
just
can't
like,
do
yeah,
that shit.
no way, dude.
Recast it, dude. Get Matt Damon.
Please don't get Matt Damon.
Dude, did you see that
dude,
fucking...
please don't get Matt
Did you
Damon
see that,
to play
that
old Paul
Ridley Scott,
Atreides.
Ben Affleck, Matt Damon movie where they're knights?
No, I don't
Called,
think
I cannot remember what it's called. Like The Last Duel.
Oh, no,
Ben
I
Affleck
didn't watch that one,
and
dude.
Matt Damon wrote this movie about like a duel between medieval knights and got Ridley Scott to direct it. And the whole time I'm just like, yo, Matt Damon, stop with your British accent.
Dude, yeah.
I don't
Please,
buy
dear,
this
dear
at
God,
all,
don't
dude.
do that. Don't
This is
do
so
that.
bad. It's like you're 60. You would have a terrible accent. This is like some this is some fat Elvis shit.
Dude, yeah.
You
don't.
know, like,
Yeah.
and then Ben Affleck has a British accent. You're just like, okay,
What's going on here?
this is terrible.
What are we doing?
This is the worst.
Yeah.
Like, even if they wrote this movie, they should not have starred in it. Like, they should have had the self-awareness
Yeah,
to know
dude.
if it ain't in
Shop
Boston.
it out, dude. Yeah.
If it doesn't take place in Boston,
Then don't. You guys.
you don't make it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stick to The Departed, Matt.
Yeah.
Stick to Good Will Hunting.
Don't. Oh God! Don't give me Matt Damon on Arrakis, dude.
Anyway,
Arrakis.
so final thoughts is 3.5.
Look, I give it 4.5.
Four.
I
4.5.
I really enjoyed the movie. I thought it was awesome. I thought it was epic in scope. It was fucking sick. But man, I just wanted more at the end. I could have used more. A lot of the critiques I had with the first one, they answered it very well in the second one. But that third act, I would have liked for that to be longer. I would have liked to see more. So I'm going to see it again on Friday. We should definitely watch it in 4D. 4DX. 4DX.
God,
you
so,
know?
like
that'd be great.
Yeah, what happened there? Did D-Box just get bought?
Who knows?
Anyway.
Go watch it, though. Go watch it. It's good.
You rock. We love you. You know,